The catastrophe is coming. I took my whole family to cultivate immortality. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276, Re-entry to Los Angeles. Yan Xiao frowned and asked, "What's the matter? Did you remember something important?" After Qin Feng pondered, he didn't hide it in the slightest. "I just suddenly remembered Yi Qian, Yi Yuan's sister, who might be in danger." Yan Xiao looked a little puzzled. She knew that Yi Yuan was Qin Feng's ex-daughter. According to Qin Zhu, it was all about Chen Zimao and rotten millet. Will she be in danger? You may not know it yet. When I went to Los Angeles last time, I saw Yi Qian. She has absorbed the spiritual energy, so she is half a cultivator. If what Sanada Miao said is true, then some other the forces may also be eyeing Yi Qian. Then call her and tell her. Qin Feng nodded. He didn't have Yi Qian's phone number, so he simply dialed Yi Yuan, but it turned off. Frowning, not long ago, the two of them were talking on the phone, and now they are suddenly turned off. Could something have happened? Taking a deep breath, Qin Feng said decisively, "I have to go to Los Angeles. Yi Yuan's phone is turned off. Perhaps it is already in danger. Then go quickly." Yan Xiao responded without any hesitation. Qin Feng looked somewhat embarrassed. "Yao, you know about me and Yi Yuan." Yan Xiao smiled sweetly, alluring the country. "You don't have to tell me so much. I'm not so careful, and I believe you. Go ahead. Save people is like putting out a fire. You can't delay." Qin Feng hugged Yan Xiao. "Thanks. This is a sincere thank you. I have to say that Yan Xiao is too considerate." Having said that, if Yan Xiao loses his temper with Qin Feng because of this incident, it is logically normal move point. Without saying anything more, Qin Feng went out directly and rose in the wind point. At this time, the sky was already dark, and everyone in Huaxia basically knew that the immortal cultivators of the Qin family could ride in the wind. Qin Feng had no scruples and accelerated with all his strength. It would take half a day for others to drive fast. For Qin Feng, it only took a minute or so to arrive at Yi Yuan's home in Luo City. Ringing the doorbell, they wanted to visit, but Yi Yuan and Yi Qian, along with their parents, were not at home. Fortunately, the housekeeper of the Yi family knew Qin Feng and thought it was the genius Dr. Wu Qin who came here last time, and his attitude was very respectful. "Wu Shen, do you want me to contact President Yi? He must be very happy to know that you are here." Qin Feng was about to answer. No matter what, Yi Yuan's father probably knew where the two daughters were, but he never thought that the phone rang just at this time, and he glanced at Yi Yuan. "No, I'll take a call first." Walking to one side, Qin Feng picked it up, and Yi Yuan's voice soon came from there. "Sorry, the phone was out of power at that time. Qian and I were outside, just charging and turning on. Is there anything wrong with calling me?" Qin Feng breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that he thought too much. The two sisters. There was no danger. "It's not a big deal. Where are you? I just happened to meet you." Yi Yuan was a little surprised. Are you here now?" "I happened to come to Los Angeles for something, and I stopped by to see you." Yi Yuan is Qin Feng's ex-girlfriend after all, and the two of them spend a lot of time together. She knows Qin Feng very well, and knows that Qin Feng is basically here for her sister. Although she saw it through, Yi Yuan didn't say it. She just responded, "I sent the location to your mobile phone. I happened to be chatting with my sister about going to your place. You are here, and tell me too." "Okay, I'll be there soon." After Yi Yuan hung up the phone, she quickly sent the location point. Yi Qian was slightly unhappy. "Sister, it's Qin Feng. Why is he in such a hurry? He has to let me go to Dukao village. Didn't you all promise to go? That was then, and now is now. I just think I'm doing fine now. I don't need to go to Fairy Village. It feels like being treated as an experimental guinea pig." "Sister, why do you have to let me do it and don't like it?" "What to do?" Yi Yuan hadn't spoken yet when the men beside she walked over chatting and laughing. She simply waited for a while. When she spoke, her younger sister Yi Qian couldn't hear clearly. When the few people over there were a little bit farther away, Yi Yuan was about to speak to persuade her sister when a girl hurried up from behind, looking very anxious and frightened. "Two sisters, can you help me? The man in the back has been following me." Yi Qian's eyes lit up when she heard this. She is different now. She feels that she has become an immortal cultivator and she has to take care of AB*******D. Don't be afraid, I'm here. He can still turn the sky. While speaking, Yi Qian glanced back, and sure enough, there was a wretched man with a baseball cap and a Bluetooth headset hanging from his ears, following behind point. Just as he was about to get angry, Yi Yuan stopped him. "You take your temper first. Let's go together. My car will be parked not far away. It's just past. Where are you going? I'll take you off." A girl in her 20s with a slightly darker complexion is very grateful. "Thank you very much. You're welcome. Let's go." Yi Qian still listened to her sister's words after all. Suppressing her small temper, Yi Yuan was not flustered in her heart. "Come on, my sister doesn't say she is very powerful now. It's definitely not a problem to deal with a gangster. Of course, the biggest confidence is that bullying can come soon. Point with Qin Feng's strength, it doesn't matter. As long as Qin Feng is willing, it is estimated that there will be no problem walking sideways in China." However, to be on the safe side, Yi Yuan still took the girl and quickly walked to a place with a lot of people. The wretched man behind him followed for a while, and it is estimated that after finding out that the other party was 3 people, he gave up and left a little angrily. Point the dark-skinned girl breathed a sigh of relief, her expression becoming more and more grateful. "Fortunately, I met 2 sisters. Otherwise, something big would have happened just now. Thank you." "Don't be polite, sister. You should have let me do it just now and taught that B****** DA lesson. You can see that it's not a good thing just by looking at it. Miss is right. Come, drink some water." The dark-skinned girl took out 2 bottles of water, opened them, and handed them to the Yi sisters. After walking for such a long time, I felt a little thirsty. Whether it was Yi Yuan or Yi Qian, they had to drink water without thinking about it. Point the next moment, the water in her hand was directly thrown out. Yi Qian became angry in an instant, and Yi Yuan would definitely be unable to suppress her anger. Chapter 277. Come early. It is better to come by coincidence. Taking a deep breath, Yi Qian directly roared like a lion in heading, which B****** D is courting death. After finishing speaking, Yi Qian was stunned. At this moment, the pretty Yi Yuan, with an unconscious smile on her face, said subconsciously, "You're here so soon. The person who arrived at this time must be Qin Feng." After smiling, Qin Feng said, "As the old saying goes, it's better to come early than coincidentally." Yi Qian seemed very unhappy. "I didn't expect that. You are quite cautious. What do you have to do in Los Angeles now?" Dignified Qin, "That, a big man, come to embarrass me, a little girl." He almost said Qin Feng's name, but he quickly changed his tune when he thought of the presence of outsiders. "Why am I embarrassing you?" Qin Feng was not angry, but just asked. Yi Qian was even more angry now. "You're too embarrassed to say it? I'll just drink some water, and you knock it over. What does this mean?" The dark-skinned girl also looked very dissatisfied. "Who is this person? It's so impolite. How could 2 beautiful sisters be involved with such a person?" Yi Qian whispered softly, "I don't know him well anyway." Qin Feng's expression was very gentle, and he said slowly, "I used to think you were pretty smart. Well, now I have to admit that it was all my delusion, and I could even ask why I knocked over your water. Fortunately, I came in time. Otherwise, this at that time, even if you were sold, you also helped people with money. You are self-willed, and you are just doing nonsense. Why do you have to bring your sister with you? It's not good for confused your relatives to be so implicated." Yi Qian was a little "Think you are who? I won't care about you." Yi Yuan is much calmer than her younger sister. She has already asked, "Have you discovered any danger? What's the matter?" Qin Feng pointed at the girl with the darker complexion at this time. Why, the two of you haven't reacted yet. Is the biggest danger her? This time, let alone Yi Kai and Qian. Even Yi Yuan was dazed and completely confused. What exactly Qin Feng wanted to express? The dark-skinned girl quit, looking very annoyed. What do you mean? I asked the two beautiful sisters for help, because I was in danger at that time. Don't spit your blood. I think you are a lunatic, completely unreasonable. Qin Feng's expression became slightly colder, and he said slowly, it's all now, you're still messing around. Tell me, who sent you here? What are you talking about? I don't understand at all. The dark-skinned girl actually looked a little wrong. It's just that Yi Kai and Qian didn't see it at all, and was still dissatisfied with Qin Feng. You are really a bit unreasonable. She is just an ordinary girl. She was followed by a disgusting person, and asked my sister and me for help. What kind of mess is there? You are highly concentrated all day long, too sensitive, too neurotic. Bah, Yi. Yuan frowned and scolded. Kai and Qian, how are you talking? Sister, I'm just telling the truth. Isn't this okay? Qin Feng shook his head helplessly, sighed, and explained. Actually, when this woman was about to approach you, I was there. You too, didn't you think about what was wrong at the time? Yi. Kai and Qian was still angry. What's wrong? Don't worry about my business. It seems that the negative voices on the internet have a great impact on Yi Kai and Qian, and now it seems that Qin Feng is not pleasing to the eye. Yi Yuan thought for a while, but her pretty face was still blank. It seemed that she didn't notice anything wrong either. Qin Feng was a little helpless, but then nodded. It's normal that the two of you can't find out. After all, you have experienced too few such things, and subconsciously, you won't think about people in bad ways. She happens to be a woman, and she is naturally easy to win the trust of others and good feelings. Now, let me ask you two things. If you encounter the same situation, there are 4 or 5 men in front and 2 girls in the back. If you want to ask for help, who will you ask? When Qin Feng's voice fell, the Yi sisters' faces changed. At the same time, the girl with the darker complexion looked more unnatural. Yi Yuan exhaled and said, thinking about it now, it's really not right. It stands to reason that those men are not far from us. This young lady should ask them for help. The dark-skinned woman blurted out, I was just too scared, too anxious, and didn't think much about it, so I asked the two of you for help. Yi. Kai and Qian didn't think there was anything wrong. Yeah, it's not normal, and I'm very good. Okay, there was no need for Qin Feng to say anything. Yi Yuan pulled her sister a little dissatisfied, moved Yi Kai and Qian to say a few words less, and reminded at the same time, you think you are very powerful, but in the eyes of outsiders, you are just an ordinary girl. No matter how you look at it, you really shouldn't ask our sisters for help. It can only show that this girl did this on purpose. The dark-skinned woman frowned in disapproval. I don't even know what you're talking about. At this time, Qin Feng spoke again. Do you still want to admit it? The problem is, your earphones are exactly the same as the man who is tracking you. Could it be just a coincidence? Besides, it's useless if you don't admit it. It's not that you were given any medicine. As long as you check it, you can clearly understand. By this time, the complexion of the woman with slightly darker complexion was no longer unsightly. Yi Kai and Qian was stunned and stopped arguing with Qin Feng. At that time, she turned around and saw that the man was wearing a baseball cap and a Bluetooth headset. Looking back now, indeed, it was almost the same as the one the girl was wearing. Qin Feng was pressing the girl with darker skin every step of the way. It's no longer for you to deny things. Tell me, who sent you here, and what do you want to do? If you don't make it clear, don't blame me for being rude. Frowning her brows, the face of the slightly darker woman turned completely gloomy. Grass, what do you think you are, and you want to be rude to me? Bah. Boy, do you know what it means that there is a way to heaven, and you don't go, and there is no way to hell? Do you break in? You need to be nosy, right? Then you're going to die here tonight. The woman's voice fell, and at the next position, a van stopped. Immediately, 4 or 5 men got out of the car aggressively. Among them, there happened to be the wretched man with a baseball cap. However, now everyone's resentful eyes are focused on Qin Feng's body. Chapter 278 Thinking of yourself too strong. Soon, a few people surrounded Qin Feng and the Yi family sisters, and they all showed guys in their hands, either a throwing stick or a weapon such as a butterfly knife and dagger. The dark-skinned woman didn't even have the intention of disguising at this time. She snorted coldly and said arrogantly, "Boy, I gave you a chance, but you are useless. If you have to swim in this muddy water, you must have the consciousness of drowning." Yi Yuan's expression was relatively calm. If this happened before, she would definitely panic, but now, Qin Feng is by her side anyway. At this time, Yi Qian was not afraid, but rather eager to try. "Okay, I didn't expect it to be said, you vicious woman. It turns out that you are acting with me." With a cold snort, the dark-skinned woman pouted. "You idiot, stop talking about it. What, you dare to scold me? Heh, what's wrong with what I said? Are you not an idiot?" Yi Qian was so angry that her blood pressure soared. She saved the woman because she was sympathetic. As a result, she was ridiculed by others. Is this an inappropriate farmer and a snake? Besides, it seems that she really can't refute it. What do you think? What you did back then was stupid. Okay, Xia Hong, don't talk nonsense with them. It's important to do business. Boy, you are definitely finished today. As for the two of you, I advise you, don't do the fearless struggle and save us trouble, but give it to you. You can't find it on your own." Yi Qian couldn't bear it any longer and stepped forward angrily, "Looking at how arrogant you are, my aunt has to teach you a hard lesson today." When the words fell, Yi Qian rushed up directly. With that appearance, it was definitely a fierce man who had more than one enemy. Yi Yuan asked Qin Feng worriedly, "Qian and the others, will nothing happen to them?" "It won't happen, but it will definitely suffer." Qin Feng looked very calm when he spoke. Yi Yuan's pretty face was a little puzzled. Didn't Qian say that she is very powerful now? Some things are just what she thinks. Compared to ordinary people, she is just brute force, and she has no experience in fighting the enemy at all. It's not a big problem to subdue some gangsters, but when I meet these people, it's almost. Yi Yuan would not doubt Qin Feng's judgment at all. She was instinctively anxious, but she quickly realized that as long as Qin Feng was watching, there would be no major incident. It would be better to let Qian suffer a little. I don't know how high the sky is. The current Yi Qian is full of confidence, but she is a little dazed when she rushes to the front and back. She has never fought too much, and at this time, she doesn't know what moves. Relying on instinct, with brute force, he punched Xia Hong in front of him. "Little girl, if you don't listen to advice, then don't blame us for being cruel." The man next to him was talking, his feet staggered, and his speed was very fast. Even compared to Yi Qian, he was not weak at all, and could even be said to be slightly better. In the whistling sound, the swinging stick in the man's hand came out, and the angle was chosen very well. It looked like Yi Qian reached out and met the smashing swinging stick. Boom. Yi Qian's wrist was thrown, and the pain almost shed tears. I was a little confused. No, I was ready to kill the quartet. How could I turn around and be punished? It must be that he was careless and didn't take the other party seriously. It's okay. It must be okay. Stepping back, Yi Qian didn't have any tricks at all. Her actual combat experience was too far, compared to the few people in front of her who didn't do good deeds all the year round, and often struggled in society. Bang. Bang bang. Soon, Yi Qian was hit by the swinging stick several times in succession. Because of the pain, Yi Qian's eyes were all red. If it wasn't for outsiders, she would have cried at this time. After biting her lower teeth, the little girl still wanted to persist. She had to take revenge, otherwise, it would be too embarrassing. Death to auntie. The angry Yi Qian rushed towards the woman named Xia Hong. Not hesitate to get hit with 2 sticks, but also to teach Xia Hong a lesson. As a result, with a look of disdain on their faces, they pouted. Shame on the face. Just a few tricks of the 3-legged cat. Still want to turn the sky? Xia Hong, who was talking, didn't move, and the men beside her had already moved closer to this side. Then, Yi Qian tried her best to dodge, but she was hit several times. For a moment, she felt as if her shoulder blades were all broken. Now, Yi Kai and Qin can't bear it anymore. Are you still watching the fun? Hurry up and help. Yi Yuan looked at Qin Feng, who had been watching the show, opened her mouth, and was embarrassed to speak. She knew Qin Feng very well, and knew that she wanted to teach her sister a lesson. Although she felt a little distressed for Yi Kai and Qin, she held back, and did not urge. Fortunately, Yi Kai and Qin, who can bend and stretch, is not a girl who accepts death. I was wrong. I was really wrong. You hurry to help. It hurts too much. When speaking, Yi Kai and Qin's voice was a bit crying. Qin Feng moved forward slowly, and now it's almost the same. If Yi Kai and Qin is abused for a while, it is estimated that Yi Kai and Qin will hate herself. At that time, Yi Yuan's face will not look good. You guys, is it interesting to bully a little girl? I mean, you really think of yourself as a character, don't you? Okay, it's boring to deal with a little girl, then let your kid know why the flowers are so red today. The moment the words fell, there were two men, one with a throwing stick, the other with a butterfly knife, and rushed towards Qin Feng. They were very fast, but their shots were fierce. They were all rushing towards Qin Feng's throat and heart. The rhythm of life. Qin Feng was still walking forward slowly, and when the swinging stick and butterfly knife were a few minutes closer, he pulled his left foot back slightly. At that moment, there was a sharp friction sound, and Qin Feng was already at his peak in the blink of an eye. Boom. Without any intention of dodging, Qin Feng punched with his left hand, facing the stick, and in the blink of an eye, he hit the stick with a fist of flesh and blood. Crack. He broke off in response. Of course, it wasn't Qin Feng's hand that broke, but the stick. The man who took the shot had a very surprised expression on his face, and instantly understood that he had encountered a hard stubble point. Unfortunately, it was too late for him to understand. After Qin Feng punched, he shattered the swinging stick and hit the man's chest without reducing his speed. Boom. When the muffled sound came, the man's body of more than 200 kilograms directly turned into a broken sack, smashed to the back and flew out, and then hit the wall. As if the wall trembled at that moment, the man's body slumped uncontrollably, let alone screaming. There was no superfluous reaction at all, and he passed out directly. The man who used the butterfly knife, but at this time, made a full effort, just to take advantage of Qin Feng to deal with his companions. Chapter 279. The gap like a moat. Qin Feng still did not step back, but directly reached out and grabbed the butterfly knife. Just this moment, let alone the two sisters of the Yi family who are confused, even the man with the knife can't understand. Is it looking for death? After biting his teeth, the man didn't care what Qin Feng was doing. He just wanted to be ruthless, and he had to teach Qin Feng a lesson. Point in the eyes of others. The butterfly knife stabbed Qin Feng's hand. Point at this moment, the man holding the knife felt a surge of energy like a sea of rage. In a short period of time, it attacked violently, with no time to react at all. Crack. The seemingly sharp butterfly knife was caught and broken in Qin Feng's hands. Qin Feng's palm was not injured at all. Point others are instantly stupid. Even if the legendary King Kong is not bad, it is probably not exaggerated now, right? For a moment, I couldn't help but wonder if what happened in front of me was real. Point the man holding the butterfly knife was also stupid, but Qin Feng had a very normal expression, followed, and slapped the man in the face with a heavy backhand. Snapped. The slap on the face was extremely loud, and the man was pulled into circles on the spot. For a time, his eyes were full of bright little stars. There was blood dripping from the corner of his mouth, followed by the man who didn't even have the chance to scream, so soft that he fell to the ground and completely fainted. The expression on Yi Kai and Qin's face was very exciting and helpless. Dare to love. This is a legend that people are more dead than people, and they have to be thrown away. Not long ago, Yi Kai and Qin rushed up with confidence and were severely punished. As a result, in Qin Feng's hands, these people couldn't even handle a single move and a half, and they were completely abused. The expressions of the remaining few people have changed. In fact, their thoughts and Yi Kai and Qin's thoughts are somewhat similar. Compared with ordinary people, they must be much stronger. To put it bluntly, they definitely absorbed the aura and suffocation between heaven and earth, just like Kao Lianan who was in Luofeng Mountain. They thought that, as long as they made a move, they would definitely kill the quartet, but the fact that Ye Kai and Qin was crushed just now gave them even more confidence. Unexpectedly, Qin Feng, who seemed harmless to humans and animals, turned into a mess, making them feel unprecedented pressure. The man with earphones, obviously the leader, gritted his teeth and shouted coldly, "Everyone, don't be stunned, let's go together and kill this B**********. Up to now, I still want to rely on the advantage of the number of people to defeat Qin Feng. The problem is that there were only 6 people with the dark-skinned woman can rush up bravely." Qin Feng spoke calmly, "I've already given you a chance. Now, are you still looking for abuse? Abusing your mother? I slapped you today." The man wearing earphones was full of anger, and together with the talented Nange, they all rushed up frantically. Snapped. The man rushing in front of him was slapped by Qin Feng before he could react. He was in the air, not only shooting blood, but also a few teeth that fell. Qin Feng followed and kicked straight away. Under normal circumstances, during a melee, if he kicked out with his legs, it would be relatively dangerous. Qin Feng might be a little more cautious when dealing with those ferocious alien beasts. When dealing with a few people in front of him, then a proper art master would be bold. Boom. Although, the thought of wanting to save Qin Feng's legs flashed in his mind, he couldn't keep up with the speed of his hands, and he was kicked and vomited one after another on the ground, as if Qin Feng had stepped down, and the man's heart was broken. The man wearing headphones gasped and stumbled, shouting loudly, "Zia Hong, don't be shy, do your best. The complexion is slightly darker and reddish." At first, Qin Feng was not in his eyes at all. At this time, his eyes have become very dignified. Heart and soul. What Zia Han didn't expect was that the companion wearing glasses shouted happily, but now, she just stepped back without the slightest hesitation. Affected by the escape of his companions, the rhythm of Zia Han's shots became somewhat problematic. It couldn't have been Qin Feng's actions. Now, there were a few clear crisp sounds. Crack, crack. The claw-like fingers were twisted and deformed one after another. Zia Han couldn't see Qin Feng's specific action. Soon, the heart-piercing pain came. You must know that the fingers are connected to the heart. This pain is not something ordinary people can bear. At that time, Zhao Hong, who was still in control of the whole situation, now only has constant mourning. Qin Feng didn't take another look at Zia Hong and moved forward. At this time, the man wearing glasses had already rushed into the van and wanted to drive away from this scary place. Just sitting down, Qin Feng was already in front of him like a teleportation. Without any stagnation, Qin Feng punched and hit the car window. Whoa, the window of the car shattered, and the speed of the punch did not decrease at all, and then hit the man's cheek. The muffled hum came, and the man instantly felt a strong pain, followed, fell on the co-pilot, and kept screaming and screaming. Before and after, Qin Feng cleaned up a few people, and it took absolutely not a minute. Yi Yuan's pretty face did not change much. It is estimated that, after seeing Qin Feng's shots a few times, now, for such a thing to happen, I already feel normal. I'm used to it. Ye Kai and Qin kept her mouth shut. She felt a little embarrassed, and she became a little more hopeful in her heart. Maybe, I should really go to Dukao village. Anyway, although Qin Feng tried his best to dissuade everyone in China from absorbing the spiritual energy easily, he did not target himself, and now that he has absorbed the spiritual energy, if he could follow Qin Feng and learn a trick half style, if I go to show it again at that time, it is estimated that I will never be slapped in the face. Qin Feng pulled the man with glasses out of the car and threw it on the ground. Whether it was a man or Zia Hong, although his body was still in intense pain, looking at Qin Feng, he didn't even dare to have resentment, but a deep fear. People are often like this. If they are not beaten, their eyes must be wrong, and they will think in their hearts that one day, sooner or later, they will have to take revenge. The fear of the strong. Qin Feng's tone sounded very gentle. As for me, I actually don't like to listen to nonsense, so you two have something in mind. Tell me, who sent you here? Don't hide it, otherwise, you can weigh the consequences for yourself. Chapter 280. Follow the vine. The earphones that the man in the earphones were wearing had long since been hid and disappeared. At this time, there was still mourning in his mouth, and he said with some fear, no, no one instructed, we just want to kidnap the second miss of the Yi family and get some money. Just after saying this, Qin Feng didn't hesitate, picked up a dagger from the ground and chopped it directly on the man's finger. Blood spurted out and his finger snapped off. Ah, my hand. Heartbreaking. Screams sounded. Qin Feng asked indifferently, don't treat me like a 3-year-old. Honestly, don't waste my patience, Yi. Yuan couldn't help frowning slightly. She instinctively thought that over the years, Qin Feng had fought against alien beasts and experienced too many dangers. After all, her personality had changed. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, you would never have imagined that Qin Feng, who is harmless to humans and animals, will chop off other people's fingers in a blink of an eye. Of course, Yi Yuan wasn't a mother-in-law's girl, and she didn't have any sympathy for the man wearing headphones. If the two sisters fell into each other's hands, they might experience even more cruel torture. Qin Feng looked at the woman named Xia Hong. Don't think I will pity Xiang Xiu. Since he doesn't want to say it, you can. Xia Hong hesitated for a while and said, that's right. Just as he said, no one instructed. Halfway through the words, the dagger in Qin Feng's hand has already been chopped off. With Qin Feng's strength, even if he is holding a fire stick, it is extremely sharp. It is really easy and enjoyable to chop off his fingers with the dagger. One of Xia Hong's deformed fingers was chopped off, and the pain came to life again, and she kept screaming in her mouth. Yi Qian's pretty face was a little pale. She had never seen such a scene before and said, what they said should be true, or maybe it's just that no one told them to. Qin Feng didn't answer Yi Qian's words at all, but grabbed the man wearing glasses, grabbed the collar of his clothes, dragged him 10 meters away, and threw it into the corner. At this time, the man didn't even have the strength to escape. In the blink of an eye, Qin Feng came back again, looking at Xia Hong. Her voice was a bit gloomy. Do you know why I judge the two of you are lying? That kid said he kidnapped the second miss of the Yi family for money? If this is the case, you must have investigated Yi Qian in advance. Then you should know that Yi Qian has the existence of a sister. Since the two sisters are together, why don't you kidnap them directly? Besides, if you really want to make a lot of money, you can just kidnap the principal of the Yi family. Point with your strengths. You are more than inferior. Even Yi Qian is thinking about kidnapping, so don't you dare to kidnap her. Dad, stop playing tricks with me. Point of course, if you want to die, you can say nothing or lie to me with nonsense. Point now. Tell me, who ordered you? Qin Feng's voice fell, and he deliberately glanced at the blood-stained dagger in his hand. Xia Hong was frightened and shivered, and her face became extremely pale because of the pain and fear. Without any blood, seeing Qin Feng weigh the dagger, it seems that it will be cut off again at any time. Xia Hong can't collapse after all, and blurted out, Wang Qianshan of the Wang family instructed, we are not the masterminds. You give me a way to live, please. As soon as the words fell, Xia Hong seemed to have her spine broken, and she boasted thoroughly. Obviously, what she said was probably true, and she didn't have the courage to continue to hide it. Qin Feng looked a little puzzled. He was really unfamiliar with the name Wang Qianshan. Point after all, Qin Feng was in Luo City many years ago. At that time, he was a school teacher, and he didn't pay much attention to the outside world. Some important people and things did not have much intersection. At this time, Yi Qian was a little surprised, and also a little angry. It turned out to be that old B*******D. Qin Feng asked, it seems that you know this person. Do you have any grudge against him? Yi Qian began to trust Qin Feng's words again, and nodded immediately. That Wang Qianshan is Wang Heo's grandfather. The Wang family is in Luo City, and the whole force is very strong, so it's not easy to provoke them. Which one is Wang Heo? Qin Feng just thought the name was a little familiar, but for a while he didn't remember which it was. Yi Qian explained, do you remember the last time you were in Luofeng Mountain? At that time, it can be said that the person who tricked me into going to Luofeng Mountain was that Wang Heo. Qin Feng nodded and realized that Wang Heo was already dead. In fact, it was Qin Feng who took action. However, it was normal for the Wang family to resent this matter on Yi Qian. It is quite reasonable for people to do something to Yi Qian. After thinking about it, Qin Feng ignored Xiao Hong, but walked up to the man 10 meters away, splashed water, and woke the man up from the coma. After seeing Qin Feng, the man's face instinctively became fearful. "Tell me, what are your last words?" Hearing Qin Feng's words, the man panicked even more. I just made a mistake for a while, and I won't die, right? You give me a chance." Qin Feng interrupted the man directly. "It's not a good thing, but you are useless now. Your companion Xiao Hong, who is not as tough as you, has already told me everything I want to know." The man's face was unpredictable. Seeing the dagger in Qin Feng's hand approaching, the huge fear of death directly overwhelmed the man, and he said with trembling lips, "I'm still useful. There are some things I know that B asterisk asterisk ch doesn't know. Point, you saved my life. I'm willing to say anything now. Point, the person who wants to deal with the second young lady of the Yi family is Wang Qianshan. Point, he found out the identity of his grandson. Point, death has something to do with the second miss of the Yi family, so I want revenge. There is one more thing. The Wang family guessed that there was a master protecting the second miss of the Yi family before killing his grandson. They have already invited and bought a lot of desperados at home. When the matter is fully investigated, the crazy thing will begin revenge." The two sisters of the Yi family who also came here, the expressions on their pretty faces couldn't help changing. Point, after the two were separated, they said that the mastermind behind the scenes was the same, so they could calm down. That was Wang Qianshan, but the man obviously knew more, and it was unlikely that he would lie now. It means that, even if the immediate troubles are resolved, the Wang family will definitely continue to retaliate endlessly, which is quite troublesome. After all, there is only 1,000 days to be a thief. How can there be 1,000 days to prevent thieves? If one is not careful, not only Yi Qian, but possibly the rest of the Yi family will be in danger. The more the two girls think, the more upset they become, the more worried they become, and they don't know what to do. Chapter 281. I really don't take the usual path. When the Yi sisters were upset, Qin Feng's calm voice sounded. "It seems that you still have the value of living. Take that woman and lead me the way." Hearing this, the Yi sisters were stunned. Where should they lead the way? The man was even more at a loss and asked inexplicably, "You, where are you going?" Qin Feng casually pointed at the Yi sisters. "It's not me, it's sis. We are going to the Wang's house now. You and that woman, just lead the way with peace of mind." "What? The F asterisk asterisk K. No matter how many years of compulsory education you have received, at this moment, only these two can truly reflect the thoughts of several people." The man was completely confused. He once thought that Qin Feng was playing with himself like a cat playing a mouse. Taking a deep breath, the man said decisively, "Don't try to test me. I have already failed. Don't worry, I will never provoke the two young ladies of the Yi family again in the future. You will give me a chance to live. Will it work?" Qin Feng frowned slightly, weighed the dagger in his hand, and the man immediately shivered in fright. "Do you think I'm joking with you? I'm just telling the truth. Let's go. This trivial matter, since I'm here in Los Angeles, I have to solve it. Don't I want to kidnap Yi Qian? I'll just send her there already." Yi Qian was stunned. This seems to be a bit too much, doesn't it? What is a little thing? The Wang family was in Los Angeles, so it was basically a giant, and it wasn't a joke at all. Would you like to send yourself over there? What is Qin Feng going to do? The man was still hesitating. He still didn't believe what Qin Feng said. Qin Feng had already raised his foot and crushed the man's severed finger. Ow. It was so painful that he let out a scream that didn't he sounds like a human voice. "I said long ago that I have no patience. Why do you challenge my patience every time? Say it one last time. Lead the way, or I will show you the way immediately and send you to hell." The man endured the pain and nodded desperately. "I know. Lead the way now. Lead the way immediately." Qin Feng seemed to remember at this moment and glanced at Yi Qian. "By the way, I forgot to ask you. I wonder if you have the guts to go to Wang's house with me." Yi Qian has always been a character that can't be stimulated. When she heard this, she felt that she was looking down on herself. She didn't think about it anymore and blurted out, "Auntie, I'm not afraid, just go." At this time, the old-fashioned house, where the Wang family lived, was also called the General Building. Just looking at the yard, it took up a huge area. There were some trees and even precious protected plants in it. As for the flowers, they bloomed even more. The scenery is quite good. Point in the grand, luxuriously decorated living room, the old man of the Wang family, Wang Qianshan, was sitting on the sofa with a gloomy expression. Point beside him, there are several middle-aged men and several women. Point Wang Qianshan's eldest son, Wang Fu, had a very ugly face and was smoking a cigarette. Point after a while, I couldn't help but say, Dad, Heyo can't just die like that. The murderer must pay for his life. And Yi Qian of the Yi family must not die. Wang Qianshan's hair was already a little grey, but his expression still showed no anger and self-righteousness. After coughing, Wang Qianshan said, you don't need to think about this matter. Our Wang family has never been slaughtered. The murderer is still under investigation. Once it is determined, it must be repaid with blood and blood, otherwise, my strange grandson will also leave uneasy. Yi family? Not only for each Yi Qian, but everyone in the entire Yi family has to pay the price. How can my grandson's life be compared to those idiots? I know, Heyo likes the Yi family's second girl. I must let her be buried with my grandson. The woman I couldn't get in my lifetime. Even if I die, I have to let my grandson get what he wants. After speaking, Wang Qianshan coughed a few more times. Although he was a little old, over the years, Wang Qianshan has still been in charge of everything in the Wang family, and the other sons did not dare to say a single word. Wang Fu asked worriedly, Dad, the people you sent are alright, right? At that time, it was time to send more people over to bring Yi Qian here. From her mouth, you must know who ate the guts of the ambitious leopard. Dare to kill my son? When speaking, Wang Fu looked extremely excited and angry. Point at this moment, an indifferent voice sounded, are you talking about me? It seems that, if you don't find me, you will definitely be endless. Several people presensed and subconsciously, but Wang Qianshan was the fastest to respond, and said coldly, who? So curious about who I am? However, you don't have the qualifications to know me. As the voice fell, there was a young man with an ordinary face in the living room. Point the faces of the people present in the Wang family changed. This person was obviously not a servant of the family or a bodyguard, a proper new face. The only thing that made people puzzled was how he came to the living room quietly like a ghost. Squinting his eyes, Wang Qianshan said coldly, boy, you have such a big tone and courage. Did you come to my royal family's place as soon as you wanted? The person who came was naturally Qin Feng, who responded with a smile and said, looking at what you said, didn't I just come when I wanted to? To be honest, Wang Qianshan has experienced a lot of things at his age. He never expected that he would be choked by Qin Feng all his life. Wang Fu spoke at this time, boy, looking at your appearance, you should know who you are talking to, right? I'm just curious, who gave you the courage to come to my Wang's house to make trouble? Could it be that you are not bothered by living, looking for death? With a smile on the corner of Qin Feng's mouth, he said indifferently, then you really think too much. I never seek death. Besides, my life is very tough. Even if I want to die, I can't die. Wang Qianshan interfaced, boy, don't talk about those meaningless nonsense. Fight saliva. It's just a waste of each other's time. Tell me, what do you want to do when you come here? Qin Feng smiled and gestured with 3 fingers. To come to your Wang's house today is just 3 things. First, don't you want to kidnap Yi Qian? Exactly. Don't be so troublesome. I've already brought her here. Hurry up, Mr. Wang. Please wait. Be in a hurry. As Qin Feng's voice fell, Yi Qian opened the door from a room behind and walked out. At the same time, Yi Yuan followed. This time, the faces of those present in the Wang family changed again. Originally, Qin Feng appeared here like a ghost, which is even more amazing. Dare to be affectionate, they still came in quietly with 2 girls. Although Qin Feng's smile looks harmless to humans and animals, it must be a bad person. Chapter 282, Chicken and Wajihu. Qin Feng didn't care about other people's reactions, and continued to say, the second thing is very simple. Aren't you looking for the murderer who killed Wang Heyo? I brought it to you too. When Wang Fu heard this, His expression instantly became excited, and he shouted loudly, Who the hell killed my son? In that way, it seems that it can pounce at any time and turn into a biting mad dog. Qin Feng still had a smile on his face. Don't be so excited. That person, it's me, isn't it coming? The members of the Wang family were stunned again. The boy in front of him was not a lunatic, but he had the confidence to come to the door like this. In fact, the two sisters of the Yi family were sweating in their hearts at this time. They had seen someone who was arrogant, but they had never seen someone who was more mad than Qin Feng. Wang Fu gritted his teeth and opened his mouth. Okay, very good, boy, you have the seeds. Since you are here today, don't even think about leaving alive. Then, you think too much. It's not up to you to decide whether I will leave alive or not. Qin Feng was not angry when he spoke, but was very casual. The more he did, the more angry the Wang family was. Don't treat them like people. Wang Qianshan is an old river and lake after all. He squinted his eyes. No matter how angry he was, his expression still seemed relatively calm. That's just two things. What about the third thing? The third thing is even simpler. Your Wang family is not a small family, but you are thinking of using despicable means to attack the two girls. Since I'm here, you must be fair. I have finished speaking. So, do you know what to do? Wang Fu was so angry that he directly swears, I know Nima, you die for me, come, let him die, die. As early as Qin Feng came to the living room, the Wang family already had security personnel, and they came hurriedly one after another from the beginning to the end. Qin Feng came here so quietly, which made these security personnel feel that their faces were very shameful. When they looked at Qin Feng, their eyes were not good. As Wang Fu's voice fell, those security personnel did not have any with scruples. He instantly rushed to Qin Feng. There was no fear on his handsome face, and he was still so calm and calm. Qin Feng turned slightly to the side and chose the right angle to keep the Yi family sisters behind him. Go to hell. Amidst the roar, there were sticks in the hands of the security guards. Qin Feng came first and punched decisively. Boom. Before smashing the stick, Qin Feng's heavy punch hit the opponent's chest first, and the powerful force exploded. Without any suspense at all, the man's body of more than 100 pounds was directly smashed and flew out. The security guards who rushed up behind them, seeing their companion smashed, subconsciously picked it up, and as soon as their arms touched, they felt a tyrannical force. My grass, hey, there was no response at all. At least 3 people were smashed to the ground by the bodies of their companions. Crack. I couldn't see Qin Feng's action at all, and the crunching sound of the tooth-stinging bones sounded one after another. Ah, my hand. Ah, ah. All kinds of screams continued to sound. Wang Qianshan, Wang Fu and the others, their faces gradually became solemn. They thought that Qin Feng dared to bring 2 girls here alone, and it must be 2 strokes, but they didn't expect this to be an ordinary 2 strokes. In just a few minutes before and after, more than 20 security personnel have been knocked to the ground, wailing from their mouths, but they have completely lost their combat effectiveness. Wang Fu said in a low voice at this time, that this is not the way to go. Wang Qianshan habitually narrowed his eyes and shouted loudly, aren't you going to take action yet? The Yi family sisters didn't react. Although those security personnel were not important, they were fighting with Qin Feng. Didn't Wang Qianshan say anything? Who the hell did you tell it? Just thinking about something in her heart, Yi Qian became more sensitive. After absorbing the spiritual energy between heaven and earth, she instinctively noticed that there was a strong wind behind her. Turning back suddenly, Yi Qian's face changed wildly. Behind him, 2 men in black, with blood-red eyes and a terrifying aura, were attacking like lightning, obviously trying to hold the Yi family sisters hostage. It seems that the security guards of the Wang family are just chess pieces on the bright side. These 2 people who show ill will and are obviously half cultivators are the real trump cards. The most important thing is these 2 people. To disgusting point, he didn't dare to confront Qin Feng, but instead hid in a dark corner like a mouse, and then suddenly attacked. The incident happened too suddenly, even if it wasn't so sudden. With Yi Qian's strength, he was not an opponent, so he basically couldn't find a way to deal with it. At the moment, when the crisis came, Yi Qian shouted out of an instinct, Wukin, help. I have to say that Yikai and Qian didn't reveal Qin Feng's real name at the time of crisis, and the little girl's mouth was really tight. Yi Yuan's pretty face was pale. In this case, she didn't know what to do. Seeing that the two girls were about to be attacked, at the critical moment, Qin Feng's figure flashed. If lightning is not enough to describe the speed at this time, it is more like a state of teleportation. Hoo-hoo. The strong wind sounded, and Qin Feng took the two sticks from the security guards and pulled them out directly. The expressions of the two attacker sneaks changed. They didn't expect Qin Feng's reaction speed to be so fast. Out of instinct, they flashed to the sides. PFFT, puff. Although the swinging stick did not hit the two sneak attackers, it pierced into the wall behind. If it hadn't been seen with their own eyes, it is estimated that other people present would not believe it at all. What kind of power is this? It's half a foot into the wall. The two sneak attackers were terrified and continued to retreat, trying to temporarily avoid Qin Feng's edge. Qin Feng didn't make a move. After he made his move, it was like a tide, and it continued. He took a wrong step forward, and there was no other extra time to react. The man on the left saw Qin Feng approaching. His eyes were startled. He subconsciously punched and hit Qin Feng in the face. Crack. It seemed that Qin Feng was not in a hurry, but the timing of the shot was extremely high, and he perfectly clenched the opponent's fist. Just as he was about to pull it back, Qin Feng had already exerted his strength decisively. The crisp sound of broken bones resounded again. Boom. The man was about to scream in agony when Qin Feng kicked him in the chest, and his whole body smashed backwards. Before he landed, blood spurted out in the air. Another sneak attacked man. His heart was shaking, and he tried his best to retreat. This speed is not bad, but in front of Qin Feng, it is far from enough. In the blink of an eye, I just saw a fist, which was rapidly enlarged in front of my eyes, and the man who attacked was panicked. Chapter 283. Who else? Gritting his teeth, the man who was originally a sneak attack is now beaten, and can only fight with all his strength. He raised his hands, trying to rely on the strength condensed by his arms, to block Qin Feng's heavy punch. The problem is that the price of doing this is that the bottom of the chest is the key point, and there is no defense at all. Putting it on other people, he might not be able to catch it in a short time, but he was facing Qin Feng, the strange man who claimed to be the second in the world, but no one dared to say he was the first in the world. The arm was pressed down perfectly, and the punch hit the man's chest. Boom. The muffled sound came, and the man's body was like an unloaded cannonball, smashing hard against the wall behind. Boom. In the dull sound, the entire wall seemed to tremble. The man's face was pale, and he couldn't make any sound. The whole body seemed to be stuck, or embedded in the wall, beating people like a painting. Qin Feng's instantaneous burst of immense sneak power is unimaginable to outsiders. However, this is not the end. The two attackers wanted to launch an attack on the Yi family sisters, while Qin Feng was dealing with the security guards. However, in the dark, there were other immortal cultivators who had absorbed spiritual energy, or in other words malicious energy, who were also eyeing them. In their opinion, Qin Feng had already tried his best to deal with the two companions at this time, but wasn't it a good time for them to take action? Go to hell. In the roar of shouting, 6 or 7 people rushed out at the same time. They did not attack the Yi sisters. They wanted to concentrate their strength and kill Qin Feng. Qin Feng's handsome face still didn't feel any waves, but he said slowly, "Good come." Under the worried eyes of the Yi sisters, Qin Feng made a decisive move. Wrong steps, accumulating power, punching, all in an instant. The shadows of fists in the sky erupted, giving people the feeling that it was like a wave. The wave was higher than the other, and the punch was stronger than the punch. For ordinary people's understanding, the fist shadow is agitated and looks scary, but it is a false move, as long as you guard against the real killer move. But when the fist shadow is close, the so-called immortal cultivators have completely changed their faces. Boom. The man who was hit by the boxing shadow felt stuffy in his chest. He never thought that a false move could have such arrogant power. The body inevitably stagnated for a while, and Qin Feng's heavy punch came right after him. At this time, the man could not avoid it at all. Bang, click. The muffled sound was accompanied by the sound of broken bones, and in the screams, blood spurted wildly and fell to the ground. Qin Feng's figure is like a ghost, and the other sneak attack people couldn't take this opportunity to shoot at him. Instead, there were 2 more people who were hit and smashed, and their bodies fell heavily on the ground, and they couldn't get up at all. The faces of Wang Qianshan and Wang Fu, as well as the rest of the Wang family, all changed. I thought that the presence of those security guards would be able to clean up Qin Feng, a daring madman, but who knows, the result was quite a slap in the face happiness. To be honest, many people in the Wang family don't know that the old man still has these trump cards. I thought it would be possible to set the world in one battle, but it seems that it still won't work. Boom. Just as I was thinking about the matter, another person was smashed and flew out and hit the wall like a hanging calendar. After a while, his body fell to the ground like ooze, and he couldn't even hear the screams arrive. For those ordinary security personnel, Qin Feng was still very measured when he took action, and instinctively did not want to hurt ordinary people. But for these so-called immortal cultivators, after absorbing the ill will, they would do evil sooner or later, so there is no need for any "you're welcome." Bang. Bang. Qin Feng used ordinary heavy punches throughout the whole process, and there was no sense of bells and whistles. However, with the advantage of the number of people, it was difficult for those people to pose any threat to Qin Feng. Yu Yuan breathed a sigh of relief, feeling a little nervous in her heart, but now that things were about to settle down, Yu Yuan was not so surprised by this result, mainly because she was used to it. When you stay by Qin Feng's side, you have to be prepared enough. Maybe Qin Feng will do something beyond ordinary people's cognition. Yi Qian is completely different from her elder sister. When she heard that the Wang family was uneasy and kind, she felt angry. When the security guards took action, they obviously bullied others, and she became even more angry. As a result, these so-called immortal cultivators didn't teach martial arts, and they played sneak attacks, which made the anger in the little girl's heart to the extreme. In this case, seeing Qin Feng slaughtering the quartet and beating the opponent down, Yi Qian felt a bad anger in his heart. Qin Feng looked calm, and there was no unnecessary words, but Yi Qian couldn't help it, and instinctively blurted out, "Who else?" After she finished shouting, Yi Qian's pretty face was somewhat embarrassed, as if she was doing it like she had dealt with those bastards. In fact, like her sister Yi Yuan, she was watching the fun the whole time. However, it's alright. Anyway, the atmosphere is here, so shouting by yourself can be considered a fitting occasion. Those so-called cultivators were all overturned, and Wang Fu's face changed completely. At first, because of the death of his son Wang Hao, he hated Qin Feng to the core, but now, he was afraid to the core. I have seen one fierce, but I have never seen one more fierce than Qin Feng. For a moment, Wang Fu even wondered if the man in front of him had something to do with the immortal cultivators of the Qin family. Otherwise, why would he be so powerful? Woolen cloth. Impossible. The immortal cultivators of the Qin family could not come to Luo City to take care of these trivial matters. Wang Fu quickly overturned his own expectations, but he didn't know at all that this kind of thinking was the closest to the truth. It's just that, if you give Wang Fu a little more time to think about it, it's impossible to think of it. The young man with an ordinary face is the famous Qin Feng. Qin Feng looked at Wang Qianshan and said slowly, "Why, after talking for a long time, it seems like sitting on the Diote, but in the end, that's all." Wang Qianshan's face couldn't help beating, his eyes narrowed again, and he said coldly, "Boy, don't be so arrogant. It's nothing crazy or crazy, I'm just talking about things." At this time, Wang Fu finally summoned up his courage again, looked at Qin Feng, and said through gritted teeth, "Do you really think you're better than yourself? Can you fight? Boy, keep your eyes open and see if you can fight again. Can you beat this?" The Yi family sisters were subconsciously attracted by Wang Fu's words, and their pretty faces changed. I don't know when Wang Fu held a gun in his hand. Qin Feng, if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284. Don't need you to say. Qin Feng glanced at Wang Fu casually and followed, as if he was lost in thought. With a proud look on Wang Fu's face, he shouted coldly, "Boy, aren't you crazy? Aren't you good at fighting? You re-silent now. Are you thinking about how you will die? Otherwise, I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and beg for mercy now. If I'm sincere, maybe I be kind and spare your life." The Yi family sisters looked a little nervous. Qin Feng was amazing, but after all, it was a gun. Of course, the two girls were not in despair. Worse and dangerous situation, isn't it turning the tide? As for what Wang Fu said to be kind and spare Qin Feng, that is simply a fantasy point. Don't forget that Wang Heio, Wang Fu's son, died in Qin Feng's hands. It is estimated that Wang Fu at this time was thinking about revenge. Qin Feng smiled and turned a blind eye to the dark muzzle. On the contrary, I just remembered that you are not the first person who dared to point a gun at me, but the person who dared to do so, in the end, had no good end. I can go to Nimmer. Now you still want to scare me? I really thought I was scared. Wang Fu sneered at Qin Feng's words and didn't believe it at all. I'll give you one last chance, kneel or not. I have no patience. Count 3 more. As soon as he said this, Wang Fu suddenly felt a flower in front of his eyes and was horrified to find that Qin Feng, who was still in front of him just now, seemed to have mysteriously disappeared. Taking a breath, Wang Fu already felt that something was wrong. It was completely instinctive. If he wanted to pull the trigger, he would ignore everything else and shoot to scare people. However, the gun in his hand had long since disappeared, and he was completely lonely. Crack. The bone-shattering sound resounded again. PFFT. The others didn't have a chance to see clearly. Wang Fu was already kneeling on the ground, and in front of him, Qin Feng was standing there casually, and said with a smile, "I forgot to tell you one thing. I'm even more impatient, and the last thing I want is to hear nonsense." Only now did Wang Fu feel the piercing pain coming from his wrist. He had no fingers, and was completely twisted at a strange angle. His fingers were connected to his heart. Only those who had experienced this kind of pain would know the best. Not long ago, Wang Qianshan felt that he was going to pull back the situation. Who knows, in a blink of an eye, Qin King was punished by Qin Feng again. The faces of the other Wang family members in the living room were unpredictable. When they looked at Qin Feng, their eyes were filled with panic. No, he was not a human at all. He was definitely a ghost, or even a ghost. Even more frightening point at this moment, a middle-aged man who resembled Wang Fucheng spoke up. "This little brother, you have something to say. There is no need to make such a big deal. Who are you?" Qin Feng interrupted the other party's words and asked back, "My dear Wang Shan, that's my eldest brother. I think it's all a misunderstanding. There's nothing I can't talk about. I just thought about it." "Shut up. Why don't you stay where it's cool? I'm only talking about these scenes now, and it's over." Wang Shan can't be choked, but now it's like man is a knife and I'm a fish, so he still bites the bullet and continues to speak. "What you said, there is no need to be so absolute. Regarding the matter of the two young ladies of the Yi family, it is indeed my Wang family's fault. On behalf of the Wang family and my father, I can apologize to the two young ladies of the Yi family. Any request, as long as my Yi family can do it, I guarantee that there will be no second words." Qin Feng glanced at Yi Yuan, and although he didn't speak, the two were lovers after all, and there was a tacit understanding between them. Yi Yuan knew that Qin Feng was asking if they needed to make up their minds. Shaking her head, Yi Yuan said, "You brought us here, and you also said that you will definitely take our sisters away, so we don't want to worry about other things. You can make your own decisions." Wang Qianshan was also in a hurry at this time. "Miss Yi, I've met you before, and chatted with your father. We are all friends. Although my unreal grandson has provoked the second girl, after all, he was a friend before. There are some things we can talk about. We apologize when we need to apologize, and compensate when we need to compensate." Qin Feng interrupted the other party's words directly. "The two of them don't need to listen to your explanations, let alone your apology and compensation. Since your royal family has done this kind of thing, they need to pay the price. No matter what you say, they need you to die even more." Wang Qianshan's face changed immediately. He didn't expect Qin Feng to be so difficult to speak. Wan Fu, who was kneeling on the ground, could no longer care about howling. His face twisted in pain, and he said, "Brother, no, Lord, you have to give a chance. We admit our mistakes, fight, punish. I don't want to repeat what I said a second time. Since your Wan family doesn't follow the rules first, then take your life, to end this matter either. Whoever you said will die, and the rest, I'll let go of it, or, all of your royal family. Everyone, just die." The faces of everyone in the Wan family changed wildly. If Qin Feng said something like this when he first came, he would either be regarded as a lunatic, or he would be regarded as a big talker. The amazing problem is that after the 2 shots just now, the courage of these people in the Wan family, they were all frightened, and felt that Qin Feng could do anything. The cold sweat on Wang Shan's face all came down, and with the last hope, he cautiously asked, "Master, is there really no room for negotiation?" "No," Qin Feng replied neatly. "I have limited patience, so I'll give you 2 minutes. After this time, I can't see anyone offering apology to death. Then, I'll do it myself." The faces of these people in the Wan family changed wildly again. Yuan frowned slightly, wondering if Qin Feng was too aggressive. Of course, this idea just flashed in my mind. If Qin Feng hadn't just arrived in Los Angeles, then she and her sister must have fallen into the hands of the Wan family. With the virtues of the Wan family, then the 2 sisters will be in the hands of the Wan family. The fate of people will only be more miserable. I'm afraid that they will not be able to die. Yi Qian Qian was very angry. At this time, she felt even more relieved. She felt that Qin Feng's style of doing things was so admirable. Now, I'm just waiting to see a good show. How many members of the Wan family will choose? If a scapegoat is introduced, who is it? The more I think about it, the more curious it becomes. Chapter 285. What is murder and punishment? Qin Feng glanced at his watch, and his voice was very calm. "You've wasted half a minute." From the Wan family's ears, Qin Feng's peaceful voice was even more terrifying than the urging talisman. Whether it was Wang Shan or Wan Fu, they were all trembling with fright. Wang Fu was still kneeling there just now, and at this time, he was already soft to the ground. Glancing at Qin Feng, knowing that this matter cannot be dragged away, Wang Fu gritted his teeth and knelt down again, but this time, he knelt down to his old man Wang Qianshan. "Dad, I blame me for this matter, and I also blame my incompetent son. He died and brought such a big disaster to our royal family. You have worked hard all your life to develop our royal family to what it is now. It's not easy." Wang Qianshan's eyes were wet, and the other people's faces were heavy, thinking that Wang Fu's words meant that he was going to sacrifice himself to save the rest of the Wang family. However, at this time, Wang Fu suddenly changed his words. "Dad, you are too tired, you are too old, you should rest. You have done so much for the Wang family, then in the end, please protect our brothers again. After all, our brothers are still young." Wang Qianshan's eyes widened. "I'm stupid, what does this mean?" At this time, Wang Shan also gritted his teeth and knelt down with a pop. "Dad, I don't want to do this either. It's just that what eldest brother said is right. You should enjoy it. You should enjoy the scenery. At your age, you should also enjoy the happiness." Yi Qian Qian saw the scene today. "I never thought that the 2 brothers of the Wan family would come so suddenly." The outspoken little girl couldn't help but said, "It's really nice to say, what you call enjoying the happiness is to let your father die. I've learned a lot, and I can say the most shameless words so fresh and refined." Yi Yuan frowned slightly, but did not speak, but there were a lot of sighs in her heart. Sure enough, human nature is too complicated, and it is the most untested. Wang Qianshan was angry, and pointed at his 2 sons, his fingers trembling. "Nizzy, are you 2 evil sons worthy of being human?" "Dad, we can't do anything either. Don't worry, I will definitely bury you beautifully. Every year. No, I will give you incense every day. In this life and the next life, I will never forget your kindness. In the next life, I will be a cow and a horse to repay you." Wang Shan even said with a weeping voice, "Big brother is right, Dad, don't worry, our brothers will never forget everything you did for the Wan family. 2 bastards, beasts, why don't you die?" At this moment, Qin Feng's voice sounded calmly. "Half a minute." The faces of the brothers of the Wang family were pale. At this time, they had already jumped on Wang Qianshan, shaking them one after another. We didn't do it right. Hit me twice, but now is the best way. I believe you don't want to watch your own son die, Dad. Just make it happen for our brothers this time. We will remember your goodness for the rest of our lives. Wang Qianshan was so angry that he couldn't help coughing one after another. He was old, and his body was already ill. He had gone through this great change, and the fact that his two sons would say such a thing made him feel in his heart more furious. He coughed so badly that he couldn't breathe. As a result, he was shaken wildly by his two sons. Soon, Wang Qianshan sat down on the sofa and wanted to speak, but unfortunately, he couldn't speak at all. At this time, the two beast sons did not feel distressed at all, but felt that they had seen hope of living, and they swayed more and more from side to side. There are indeed other members of the Wang family in the living room, but they are extremely afraid of Qin Feng, and even more afraid. If they stop now, Qin Feng might blame them. When disaster strikes, who will take care of whom? The most important thing is to ensure your own safety first. As a result, no one else will take the initiative to speak up. Wang Qianshan over there was already extremely difficult to breathe. In fact, the 2 minutes had already passed, and Qin Feng did not rush, but just accompanied the Yi sisters and enjoyed the farce in front of them. After a while, Wang Qianshan had lost his breath over there. Wang Fu subconsciously shouted, "My dad is gone. My dad is gone. Dad, you have to go all the way. Dad, our brothers thank you and kowtow to you." Wang Shan cried very sadly, but in the eyes of others, he didn't have the slightest sympathy and even felt a little disgusted. In that way, it was as if Wang Qianshan was not forced to death by the two beasts. The so-called crocodile tears should be what the brothers look like. Wang Fu's face was still a little pale. He looked at Qin Feng and said in a panic, "Master, my dad is dead. You don't know what to say, right?" Qin Feng's voice was slightly cold. "For someone like you who can even kill your own old father, what can I do if I don't say anything?" Hearing this, Wang Fu was almost scared to pee in an instant. Wang Shan's face was distorted, and there was panic in his voice. "I can't do this. I can't do this. Give me a way to live. We have done what you said, and, I swear to God, I will never look for you in the future, and I will not trouble the two daughters of the Yi family. This matter, it has little to do with me in the first place, so you can give it a chance." When the words fell, Wang Shan did not kowtow to the dead father, but banged his head to Qin Feng and begged for mercy. Qin Feng was too lazy to answer any more questions and said casually, "Let's go. The excitement is over, and the rest is meaningless." Naturally, Yi Yuan didn't have any opinion. She nodded and followed Qin Feng out. Yi Qian followed immediately, not to mention the happiness in her heart. When she was in Luofeng Mountain, Yi Qian almost died because of Wang Hao. This group of bastards from the Wang family even use the following tricks to deal with her sister. Such people, to keep them alive, is also a waste of food. Qin Feng took the Yi family sisters and slowly left the Wang family. Although there were still some security personnel, they knew that, after what happened just now, it was useless to take action. If Qin Feng, the living Hell King, was angry, then more troublesome. No one disturbed the whole process, and the three of them walked away. At this time, the people of the Wang family, together with the security guards, dared to let out a long breath, and everyone looked extremely complicated. What does it mean to be cruel to the enemy? Today, it is a real insight. The Wang family has indeed gone too far. However, Qin Feng's revenge method after he arrived makes people afraid to think about it. In the past, I only heard about killing people, but today, he really saw it. Chapter 286 Unintentional Love War. Qin Feng took the Yi family sisters out of the Wang family. At this time, Yi Yuan looked a little sluggish. To put it bluntly, she was still in the shock just now. She felt that everything she had experienced was like a dream. Yi Qian is much better. She won't feel any special shock, the person in front of her. But Qin Feng does anything. It's normal, brother. Feng, with your move this time, the rest of the Wang family won't take risks to get revenge, right? I've already decided to follow you to Dukao village for a while, in case my sister and my family What if there is a problem? Well, this little girlie Qian is very realistic. In a blink of an eye, she is called Shang Feng's big brother again. Before Qin Feng could speak, Yi Yuan took the initiative to say, "Don't worry, the people of the Wang family will never think about revenge anymore. On the contrary, it will not take long before the Wang family will completely decline. It is estimated that there is no place to stand in the entire Los Angeles city." Yi Qian's pretty face is full of puzzlement. "Sister, it's not as exaggerated as you said. The Wang family just died. An old B***********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************ght Fu and Wang Shan are still alive. Some of the Wang family's properties have not been affected at all. You have experienced too few things. It seems that you really don't understand the truth. Do you think today's events will be spread?" After pondering for a while, Yi Qian nodded. "Definitely, although the brothers of the Wang family don't want such a shameful thing to spread throughout Los Angeles, but there are other people present today. I can't help but tell others about this kind of thing. It is estimated that it will be soon. I will pass 10 at a time, and pass 10 at 100. Yes, then what do you think others will think of the Wang family brothers after hearing this?" After thinking about it, Yi Qian still didn't quite understand, and said, "At most, it's just to scold the two of them for nothing. What does this have to do with the decline of the Wang family?" A complicated look flashed in Yi Yuan's eyes, mainly because she accidentally recalled what happened at the Wang family, and she couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. "Little sister, think about it. Wang Qianshan's death can be said to be persecuted by two sons. If the Wang family were our partners, would you still cooperate with them?" Without thinking much, Yi Qian blurted out, "Of course not. Such a person who even betrays his own father. Do I dare to cooperate with them at ease?" Yi Yuan nodded and smiled. "That's the truth. When the Wang family's business partners hear about today's events, even if there is some necessary cooperation, they will have great precautions. This is not the most deadly. Every industry has competition. Opponents are only competing within the specifications, so it is difficult to see the outcome in a short period of time. Now that the brothers of the Wang family do such a thing, their competitors will not have any scruples, and will use all kinds of means to bring down the Wang family and gain benefits, and outsiders can't say anything. This is eliminate harm for the people, and the Wang family will not be able to get it back." By now, Yi Qian finally fully understood. "Sister, you are still smart. Point sure enough, if this goes on, the Wang family will be completely ruined, or the big brother will be fierce. Point this is killing people. Point I thought too much just now, thinking that the Wang family would take revenge. Point there, they really don't. There is no chance for revenge." It has to be said that Yi Yuan, as her father's right-hand man, has been dealing with the company's affairs all the time. The reason why Qin Feng did not kill the rest of the Wang family is because of what Yi Yuan said. If there is no need for it, the Wang family will be completely destroyed, and the brothers Wang Fu and Wang Shan have to feel the despair a little bit. And helpless. This kind of punishment made them both more uncomfortable than killing them. Send Yi Yuan and Yi Qian back to Yi's house, to avoid the family's worries, so I didn't say much about what happened today. Qin Feng was about to leave, but Yi Qian took the initiative to say, "Brother Feng, let's take a night's rest here today. Just tomorrow I will go to Dukao village with you. It's really decided this time, and it won't be changed again?" Qin Feng asked with a smile. "Of course, I think it's better to follow you and listen to your teachings. Maybe one day, I can become an immortal cultivator who kills alien beasts." Qin Feng thought for a while, and now he has nothing to do when he returns to Dukao village, so he simply agreed. Yi's father and Yi's mother heard that Wu Qin, who saved his life last time, was here. Naturally, he was quite enthusiastic, and the reception was very thoughtful. After a hearty dinner, Qin Feng went to the guest room to rest. Yi Qian found her sister Yi Yuan secretly, and said in a low voice, "Sister, don't you want to talk to him?" "What's there to talk about? It's not too early, so let's rest early. Qin Feng should be tired too." Yi Qian looked like she hated iron for not being good at steel. "My sister, why are you so reserved? Don't waste the opportunity I created for you. I'm your sister, and I know you very well. Over the years, you have been saying that you are busy with work and refuse to fall in love. After all, I still have Qin Feng in my heart. Yi. Yuan's pretty face was slightly complicated, and she sighed slightly. Don't talk about the past. Qin Feng already has a girlfriend, and he and Yan Xiao are a good match. What, aren't you married yet? Could it be that you don't dare to score goals if you have a goalkeeper? Sister, listen to me. As long as you swing your hoe well, you won't be able to dig down without a corner. You. Before he could finish speaking, Yuan pushed him out of the room. You are all in a mess. Hurry up and have a rest. You have to go back to Dakar village with Qin Feng tomorrow. Don't push me, sister. I'm telling the truth. I'll give you a chance. Don't take it too hard. Go to bed quickly. Yi Yuan rolled her eyes at her sister and closed the door with a bang. Yi Kai and Qian looked helpless. Okay, I figured it out. I'm the emperor who is not in a hurry for the eunuch. Forget it, I don't care. The little girl angrily went back to her room to rest. The two sisters had a good rest all night, and there was nothing to worry about. After all, Qin Feng was here. No matter how different the world was now, Qin Feng would definitely ensure their safety. Qin Feng hadn't slept much, but he was still in good spirits. When he was about to eat breakfast, Qin Feng's phone rang. Seeing that it was Wu Hua, he asked slowly, Mr. Wu, what's wrong? Sect Master Qin, something has happened. In Langu City, Southwest Province, there are alien beasts invading. It's not convenient for you to arrange someone on your side, so hurry up. Chapter 287th Eventful Autumn. Qin Feng frowned slightly. It seemed that with the complete fusion of the two worlds, the perception ability of his own consciousness was limited more and more severely. If something like this happened in Langu City before, Qin Feng would definitely have sensed it in advance. Okay, I'll arrange for someone to go there now. Unexpectedly, Wu Hua suddenly said, huh? It seems that you don't have to worry so much anymore. Qin Feng asked curiously, what do you mean? Did something happen? There are other immortal cultivators. Oh, to be precise, they are not really immortal cultivators. They are those who have absorbed the spiritual energy of the world and become more powerful. Those have taken action. Alien beasts are not opponents. Oh, so it is. Sect Master Qin, I'm on the phone here. There are still things to know. I'll talk to you about the specific situation. Oh, by the way, you can also follow the situation in Langu City from the internet. Before Qin Feng could reply, Wu Hua hung up the phone. Qin Feng pondered for a while, then simply turned on the phone and looked for the live broadcast. Every time an alien invasion occurs, a limited number of anchors will broadcast live for the sake of popularity. By the time Qin Feng found a live broadcast room that was paying attention to this matter, the alien invasion over there had come to an end point. To be precise, those alien beasts that are not really real are all affected by the hostility between heaven and earth and have mutated. Point in Langu City, after absorbing the spiritual energy, there are many people who have become stronger. It seems that there are hundreds of people who have made all-out efforts and cooperated with the local combat troops to completely solve the alien invasion. In the live broadcast room, there is a heated discussion. Newbie, my Langu City newbie, there are so many talented people. I have a feeling now, is it going to the era of per capita cultivators? This time there are so many people that they can't fight back against those alien beasts. Unfortunately, why can't I feel the aura? So, what if you feel it? Have you forgotten that Sect Master Qin Feng has come out to speak out in person, and you must be cautious about matters related to spiritual energy? You are so smart. Do you still believe this? I want to ask now. The immortal cultivators of the Qin family kill alien beasts and protect the safety of one party, and those other people who have absorbed spiritual energy and become immortal cultivators are also the same. Are you doing this? What's the difference? What is the purpose of the Qin family? Isn't it easy to figure it out? Unfortunately, there are still a lot of smart people who believe Qin Feng's words, which is ridiculous. I just can't perceive the spiritual energy. Otherwise, I would have absorbed it a long time ago. Now, it is a real chaotic world. You don't know when there will be terrifying beasts. No matter how powerful other people are, you are still strong and the safest. There's Nothing wrong with this, others have it, but it's not as good as own. Qin Feng didn't have any intention of participating in the discussion and left the live broadcast room directly. Kinzu called, with a bit of anger in her tone. Have you heard about the things over there in Langu City? I already know. Excessive. I feel that more and more people are going too far. Now, they all feel that they are hurting them by telling them not to absorb the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. If you want me to tell you, don't worry about this matter. Life is short, anyway, no matter what happens in the future. If you are here, our Dukao village will be fine. Why should we be in danger for these people? Qin Feng smiled and calmly said, it's all gone. It won't make you so angry. Let them say it. Don't worry, it won't take long for these people to understand that they are wrong. Kinzu took a few deep breaths in succession before she stabilized her mind. Okay, I just think those people are disgusting. I'll talk about it later. After the sister and brother finished talking on the phone, Qin Feng had time to eat some breakfast. Yi Kai and Qian really decided to go to Dukao village with Qin Feng this time. She was just absorbing the spiritual energy. Maybe she would be threatened like Sanada Miayu. Staying at home is worse than staying in Dukao village. The pretty Yi Yuan sent the two to the door. Yi Kai and Qian asked, sister, you are also hungry and obsessed with other things. Why don't you just take me to Dukao village to see what it looks like there? Shaking her head, Yi Yuan responded with a smile. I won't go, you can stay there and listen to Qin Feng's words. Yi Kai and Qian was helpless. She knew very well that her sister was worried that she went to Dukao village and was a little embarrassed after seeing Yan Xiao, so she created opportunities one after another. In the case of not hurrying on the road, there is no flying in the wind. Simply let Yi Kai and Qian drive one of her sports cars to Dukao village point. After arriving at Dukao village, Yi Kai and Qian kept exclaiming, wow, is the scenery here so good? If I knew this, I would have come earlier. Okay, then, the little girl's expression became a little intoxicated. It's spiritual energy. The spiritual energy contained in Dukao village is too strong. Feng, big brother, can't I absorb the spiritual energy of Dukao village? Qin Feng smiled and said slowly, that's nothing, and after you arrive at Dukao village, you can absorb the spiritual energy according to your original rhythm. However, there is one thing you must remember. Once you notice something is wrong in your body, don't hide it, and tell it immediately. Okay, I know. While talking, the two reached the parking lot point after knowing that Qin Feng was back. Many people in Dukao village came to greet him. The main reason was that, as long as he glanced at Qin Feng and knew that Qin Feng was staying in the village, the tribe would instinctively feel at ease. In the crowd, Yan Xiao was also there, with a habitual smile on the corner of her mouth. She wore a simple beige shirt, white cropped pants, and white running shoes. It can be said to be very simple, but it makes people look at it. It feels pleasing to the eye. Yi Kai and Qian was originally unconvinced. She thought that her appearance was quite good, and her sister Yi Yuan was even more beautiful. However, after seeing Yan Xiao herself, she realized that Yan Xiao herself is not the kind of person who is not very photogenic. I was even more beautiful than what I saw in movies or videos. Even if she was a girl, Yi Kai and Qian couldn't help but sigh how much she favored this woman in chat. So she was so flawless. Qin Feng greeted everyone with a smile. After a while, he frowned slightly. Sister Kinzu, fourth uncle Qin Hongfu, and Qinya are all present. Although there is a smile on their face, Qin Feng has already keenly felt that several people are trying to force his smile. This can only explain one point. Something must have happened. They just don't want to talk to Qin Feng for the time being. Chapter 288. It's not peaceful outside. There are many other clansmen. Qin Feng did not ask, just greeted others first. Kinzu is quite dissatisfied with Qin Feng taking Yi Kai and Qian back to Dukao village. After all, she is also a person who chases after stars and becomes a younger sister-in-law. She has a girlfriend as good as Yan Xiao, and her younger brother Qin Feng also manages her ex-girlfriend's house. It's a mess. Even the elder sisters feel angry. However, knowing that Qin Feng also wanted to judge from Yi Kai and Qian, the immortal cultivators who only absorbed the spiritual energy would also suffer from the influence of the hostile energy, and the dissatisfaction in their hearts could only be suppressed. Having said that, Yan Xiao's family didn't lose his temper. As a sister, let's turn a blind eye. First point, asking Qin Xiao to take Yi Qianqi to arrange a place to live. Qin Feng and Yan Xiao said a few words. With outsiders around, it is impossible for the two to talk about private topics. It is more like a chat. After everything was done, Qin Feng moved to Qin Hongbo and others to go to the council room. After a few people were seated, Qin Feng asked, "Tell me, what's the matter?" The expressions of several people changed slightly. You look at me, I look at you, and they didn't speak. First point, after a while, Qin Zu spoke first. "It's okay, why are you asking that all of a sudden?" Qin Feng frowned slightly. "Since I opened my mouth to ask, I must know what went wrong. You guys think that you are hiding it well, but you underestimated my perception. I have already noticed that something is wrong, so stop talking about those useless nonsense." Fourth uncle, what's the matter with you, Qin? Hongfu respected Qin Feng very much. Hearing this, he subconsciously stood up. Sect Master, I'm here. Fourth uncle, you are an elder. Don't be so excited, just sit and talk. Qin Hongfu looked a little embarrassed, but he still said that there is indeed something. I'll say it. You shouldn't think about hiding the sect master. You guys won't listen. Qin Zu and the others looked a little helpless, knowing that Qin Hongfu still had to say it. Sure enough, Qin Hongfu has continued to say, "Sect master, it's Qin Wen of the Japanese country. Something happened." Qin Feng's expression remained unchanged, and he asked, "What exactly happened?" After Qin Wen accompanied Miss Sanada Miyu back to Japan, Miss Sanada was still dealing with their family's business according to the normal pace of life. However, in the past 2 days, they have been attacked by many people one after another. There are those who attacked secretly, those who blatantly followed and shot, and some even rushed to Miss Sanada Miyu's house to do it. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes slightly, thinking subconsciously in his heart. Listening to this, the country of Daking Japan is even more chaotic than Huaxia. And then, Qin Wen was injured in a fierce battle with several unknown persons. In order to protect Miss Sanada Miyu at 10 in the morning this morning, Qin Feng was slightly angry. This Qin Wen, didn't I tell him that if anything happens, he has to tell me in time? He's better. Until now, I don't know any news. Sect Master, don't be angry. Don't blame Qin Wen. He is mainly worried about you too much, and, according to what he means, he can still control the things over there. As long as the injury is healed, it will definitely guarantee Sanada Miyu's safety. Nonsense. Qin Feng was a little angry. To be honest, whether it was Qin Hongfu who was speaking, or other people present, or seeing Qin Feng like this for the first time, he felt an invisible pressure for a while, and he didn't even dare to say more. Qin Zu was Qin Feng's sister after all. She was much better. After a while, she opened her mouth and said, "After the accident, Qin Wen has already informed me, and he also said that, if he feels that Sanada Miyu is not well protected, he will let me arrange support immediately. For the time being, there is no big problem, isn't there a big problem?" After a few confrontations with alien beasts, the final result is victory, so let you invisible have not taken the matter of alien beasts to heart? Qin Feng's voice was a bit colder than other times, and continued, "If that's the case, you've made a big mistake. You don't understand Qin Wen's character. Normally, he has medicinal pills on his body. Does he need to take care of ordinary minor injuries? Since he said that now, it can only show that the injury is not light. One more thing, if you are the group who want to attack Sanada Miyu, when do you think it is best to do it?" The few people present were not fools. Their expressions had already changed. Qin Zu said, "I understand. They are likely to take advantage of Qin Wen's injury and go all out. After all, while you are sick, they will kill you. Well, if you say that, Qin Wen and Sanada Miyu are in danger." Qin Zukio's face changed a few times. In this matter, she obviously had a certain degree of misjudgment. "I will go to the Japanese country immediately, and I can't let Qin Wen have an accident." The anxious Qin Zu had already stood up and wanted to make amends. Qin Feng waved his hand. "You stay at Dukao village in peace, and I will visit the Japanese side in person. Is this appropriate? Let me go." Qin Feng waved his hand again, and his voice softened a bit. I'm the most suitable. Not long ago, I went to the country of Japan, and I'm more familiar with the situation there than you. Huaxia and Dukao village. In a short period of time, there should be no major incident point. If there is any accident in the later stage, remember, contact me at any time. Even if I'm in Japan, I can come back in the shortest time. Others thought about it and had to admit that what Qin Feng said made sense and could only answer. Now that Qin Feng has made up his mind, he will not be dragging his feet. Soon, he will start his journey. Before leaving, Qin Feng called Sanada Miayu. I'm Qin Feng. How is your situation, Mr. Qin Feng? I'm fine here. I want to hear the truth. Now, I'm already on my way to the Japanese country. If the situation on your side is too critical, I won't think about taking a plane anymore, but will rush over by myself. So I want to hear the truth now and understand. Yet, Sanada Miu sighed softly. Sorry, I didn't protect Mr. Qin well. He was not seriously injured. Of course, there is definitely no danger to his life now. I stay at home and have security personnel to protect him. For the time being, there will not be too much danger. I didn't suffer any injuries. At the critical moment, Mr. Qin still has the strength to fight, so please rest assured. Of course, you don't have to rush over in such a hurry. Maybe, I can try the things here to resolve it. Qin Feng's voice sounded slowly. I went to the Japanese country not only for your safety, but because of Qin Wen. No one can be safe after hurting the Qin family. You should have heard our old saying, that blood debts must be paid with blood. Chapter 289 Thrilling Journey. Since Qin Feng knew that there was no danger at Sanada Miao's side for the time being, he simply chose to rush over by plane. Nothing happened along the way. After getting off the plane, Qin Feng just turned on the phone when a call came in. Hello, is this Mr. Qin? Miss Sanada Miao asked me to pick you up. The other party's Huaxia dialect sounded a little awkward, but he could finally understand it. Okay, I get it. After Qin Feng hung up the phone, he quickly found the person waiting to pick him up. The other party is a little short, and he is very respectful to Qin Feng. Hello, I'm Jingbian Xiao. I'm here. Qin Feng nodded and followed the other party to the commercial car. I specifically called Sanada Miao to see if it was still safe there. Mr. Qin, you're here. Have you seen Jingbian Xiao who picked you up? I see. There's nothing wrong with you. Don't worry, it's safe now. Okay, see you later. After hanging up the phone, Qin Feng closed his eyes and said something casually. Go a little faster. Okay, Mr. Qin. The vehicle was driving steadily. After a while, Qin Feng did not open his eyes and said, who sent you here? Jingbian Xiao was obviously stunned and then smiled. Of course it's Miss Sanada Miao. Mr. Qin, why do you suddenly ask such a thing? Sanada Miao must have sent someone, and that person is indeed called Jingbian Xiao, but you are not him. This road is not in the direction of Sanada Miao's house at all. The man driving the car changed his face slightly and then said, sorry, Mr. Qin, I took a shortcut. It may not be the same as your impression. You don't need to think about it. I'm really Jingbian Xiao. Stop the car. Qin Feng's expression was very calm, but he was thinking in his heart that it was his fault that he lied to the other party casually. As a result, he really showed his tricks. As soon as he got off the plane, this kind of thing happened, which can only explain two possibilities. One is that there are traitors around Sanada Miao who told her opponent everything about Sanada Miao, so she thought about killing Qin Feng in half. Another possibility is that Sanada Miao did not know it. The phone was monitored. The man driving not only did not intend to stop, but was accelerating. I'll say it one last time. Stop. After knowing that Qin Feng saw through him, the man simply stopped pretending and said coldly, this is a country of Japan, and it's not a place where you should meddle with your own business. Don't think about doing anything to me. Once the vehicle goes out of control, we will both die. I'm not afraid of anything, and I'll die with you if it's a big deal. Before the man's words were finished, Qin Feng had already shot, and his palm was like a knife, hitting the back of the man's neck. Without any suspense, the man passed out directly. If it was someone else, I really wouldn't dare to do this. If the driver loses consciousness in a high-speed vehicle, it's all done. However, Qin Feng's speed was too fast. The moment he hit the man, his left hand had already unbuckled the seatbelt, and his figure flashed, and he arrived at the driving position like a ghost. A lot of nonsense. After speaking, Qin Feng opened the car door and kicked the man out. He didn't even have a chance to scream or wake up. The man's body hit the ground one after another, and his head was bleeding. Even if he didn't die, he would probably have to peel off his skin. The vehicle at this time, looking to deviate to the left, faced a truck. Getting closer and closer the horn sounded, and the expression of the truck driver changed. Qin Feng didn't have any fear on his face. It was extremely stable. Point at the next moment, I was in perfect control of the vehicle. Point at high speed. The vehicle suddenly turned. Point. You must know that ordinary people would not dare to do this at all, and the vehicle would likely roll over. However, Qin Feng is not an ordinary person. Qin Feng has already turned the direction and continued to move forward. The truck driver's face was pale, and he blinked his eyes hard. He almost thought it was an illusion just now. You know, it is estimated that in half a second at night, the vehicle will have to collide. Qin Feng quickly parked the car on the side of the road, followed, and rose up in the wind, disappearing in a blink of an eye. The passing vehicles didn't notice Qin Feng's series of actions at all. They simply thought that someone was incompetent and parked the vehicle on the side of the road. Qin Feng knows better than anyone that, since there is a problem with the people sent by Sanada Miayu, then Sanada Miayu and Qin Wen must be in danger next time. If they continue to drive, it may be too late. Sure enough, at this time in Sanada Miu's home, security personnel were still patrolling around. It is a pity that some people were not discovered by these security personnel at all. Instead, in the room, Qin Wen, who had just been changed by a private doctor, frowned, looked at Sanada Miayu and said, "Not right." Sanada Miayu didn't react, and subconsciously asked, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Is there something wrong with your body?" Qin Wen shook his head and looked very serious. "I have a bad feeling that something must happen, so be careful." If it was in the past, Sanada Miayu would basically be dubious about Qin Wen's words, but now Sanada Miayu has no doubts. After becoming a cultivator, the stronger his strength, the more sensitive he is to perceived danger. Qin Wen, it is impossible to create panic for no reason. Sanada Miayu's pretty face was slightly cold, and she deliberately got closer to Qin Wen so that she could protect her at any time. Qin Wen listened carefully, and the next moment, he shouted loudly, "Watch out, windows." There is a window directly opposite, and at the moment Qin Wen opened his mouth, crash, the glass shattered, and countless fragments of glass attacked Sanada Miayu and Qin Wen. At the critical moment, Qin Wen gritted the pain in the ninja's body, suddenly stood up, blocked Sanada Miayu as fast as lightning, grabbed the bedsheet, turned his arms over, the bedsheet followed, and the glass fragments that hit seemed to fall into the vortex. It is impossible to cause any damage to Qin Wen and Sanada Miayu. However, behind the shards of glass, there was a dazzling cold light, and then, the whole room was filled with violent sword gang strength. Qin Wen shouted, "Flick coldly, sword come." With a grasp of the void, a white lighted, and the immortal weapon created by Qin Feng was already in his with the sword in hand. Qin Wen's fierce aura almost doubled, and swept across the 8 wastelands. The tyrannical sword energy met the sharp sword light. When the violent crash sounded, Qin Wen didn't move at all, but his face was slightly pale, and the wound he had just treated was quickly dyed red because of the strength to break away. At this time, Qin Wen had already seen clearly that on the opposite side, there was a man in black, with blood-red eyes and an astonishing hostility. "Today is the death of the two of you. Stop struggling, it's just wasting everyone's time." Chapter 290. It's just right. Sanada Miayu frowned, instinctively wanting to fight side by side with Qin Wen. At this time, Qin Wen was not reckless, and said calmly, "Call Brother Feng, hurry up." Sanada Miayu reacted instantly. Qin Feng had already arrived in Japan, and asking the car to pick him up was a matter of etiquette. If Qin Feng wanted to rush over, he would be able to arrive in minutes, as long as he flew in the wind. In the end, now is the safest, only when Qin Feng is around. He took out his mobile phone decisively, but at this time, several black shadows rushed in from the window and the door, all with sharp Japanese swords in their hands, attacking the sky and covering the earth. Qin Wen shouted angrily, "Death to me." The swords swept across and fought back with all their strength. However, there were still people rushing in later, and they had already started to attack Sanada Miyu. The security personnel on the periphery had only just reacted, and it was unrealistic to expect them to rush into rescue point. If Qin Wen was not injured, it would not be a big problem. Now, because he is injured, he has tried his best and cannot stop the subsequent attacks. Sanada Miyu had no choice but to give up making the call and flash to the left. The opponent's offensive was extremely fierce. There were 4 people involved in the siege of Qin Wen, and 2 others, from the left and right sides, forced Sanada Miyu to the corner of the wall. There was no brewing, and the situation became very dangerous. Although Sanada Miyu has become a serious immortal cultivator because of Qin Feng's relationship, it is a pity that she has never been in contact with her before, and she has too little experience with the enemy. The strength of the other 2 is not necessarily stronger than her, but the experience of the enemy is very rich. Continuous dodging. Sanada Miyu dodging space is constantly compressed. But the 2 men in black on the other side saw the opportunity and made a fierce move at the same time, and Sanada Miyu instinctively panicked. You must know that when you meet on a narrow road, the more flustered you are, the more untimely the reaction will be. Although you dodged the attack of the man on the left, the Japanese sword in the hand of the man on the right has locked Sanada Miyu's throat. Qin Wen has indeed sensed that Sanada Miyu is in danger, but unfortunately, in this situation, Qin Wen can barely resist the joint attack of the 4 people, and if he wants to support Sanada Miyu, it is similar to a fool's dream. It was at the critical moment, in the feint, as if the sound of the dragon seal was surging. The next moment, boom, boom, where Miyu Sanada was, a hole appeared in the wall. In order to prevent the earthquake, the houses built by the Japanese country are different from the residences of Huaxia. Even so, no matter it is Sanada Miyu or the man in black who is doing his best, he never thought that someone could punch through the wall with one punch. This is just the beginning. The angle blocked by that punch is extremely precise. The man in black squinted his eyes, but did not change his move. In his opinion, the opponent who dared to use the fist of flesh and blood to resist the attack of the Japanese sword was definitely a fool. Said it was too late, but soon, the fist of flesh and the Japanese sword collided fiercely. Crack. An unexpected thing happened. The mighty Japanese sword shattered in response to the sound. Sanada Miyu's eyes lit up. Knowing that this was a good opportunity, without any hesitation, he pointed like a knife, poking at the opponent's throat. Although he had too little experience with the enemy, fortunately Qin Wen was idle and bored, and he was also with Sanada Miyu. You discussed the matter of cultivating immortals, and in the middle, he also pointed out the little girl's moves. Now, Fuzixin feels that she has never played so well as now. PFFT. To be honest, Sanada Miyu never expected that her shot would be so sharp, instantly piercing the opponent's throat and bloodshot. The man's eyes were full of unwillingness. He never thought that he would die at the hands of a rookie, Sanada Miyu. Seeing the death of his companion, the other man let out a roar. His eyes were blood red, and his body exuded an astonishing hostility. The Japanese sword swept across his body. In that way, he could not wait to chop off Sanada Miyu's head directly. In the blink of an eye, before the man could react, he felt a huge force coming from his chest. There was no suspense. The man's body flew backwards. When he was in the air, he seemed to see that there was an obvious depression in his heart. No matter how you looked at it, it could be fatal. Puff. Blood spurted wildly from the man's mouth, and a wave of darkness struck quickly. At the last moment, the man saw a handsome young man across from him, standing there calmly. How did that trick come about? At this time, there is no one else, except Qin Feng who can catch up. Sanada Miyu, who was still very nervous just now, let out a long sigh of relief, and instinctively thought that, even if the end of the world is coming, I believe that, as long as Qin Feng is there must be a solution to the problem. Qin Wen's perception is very keen, and he was still worried about Sanada Miyu's accident just now. The mission he was sent to the Japanese country was a complete failure, but he quickly sensed the majestic aura With a look of joy on his face, Qin Wen knew very well that this must be Qin Feng's arrival. Brother Feng, these people have something. Be careful. Qin Wen is very self-aware now. He continues to block the other party, but it becomes a waste of time. As long as Qin Feng takes action, the few of them should not be able to make any waves. Sure enough, before Qin Wen's words fell, Qin Feng had already stepped forward. In Sanada Miao's view, Qin Feng is an absolute teleportation. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed that a person's speed could reach such a terrifying level. Soon, Sanada Miao felt that it seemed that she was surprised too early. Facing the attacking Japanese sword, Qin Feng didn't dodge or avoid it. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the Japanese sword. I went, is this crazy, or is he full of confidence and confidence? Did you miss me a bit? Just thinking of this, Qin Feng's hand has precisely grasped the Japanese sword. The man with strength and strength, holding a Japanese sword, was still imagining that the other party was directly finished and his flesh and blood were flying, but he saw Qin Feng's sleeves tossed. The broken Japanese sword shards seemed to be transformed into shot bullets. There was no time to dodge and react at all. PFFT, puff. The man who shot was smashed into a sieve by the fragments of the Japanese sword in the blink of an eye. The expressions of the remaining 3 people changed. They did not expect that the other party would support so quickly, and they were also absolute masters. Thankfully, the 3 of them didn't know that the famous Qin Feng was standing opposite them. Otherwise, they might not have the courage to continue fighting. No matter how crazy, at least Qin Feng's strength was recognized as strong throughout the world. Outrageous. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291 Dead End. His eyes were blood red, and he was angry. The remaining 3 killers roared and rushed towards Qin Feng. In their thinking, Qin Feng didn't talk about martial arts, and he just attacked him and caught his companions by surprise. As for Qin Feng grabbed the broken Japanese sword with his bare hands, they ignored it, or they felt that his companions did not pay enough attention to Qin Feng. Now, take it seriously, the 3 of them will definitely kill Qin Feng. Qin Wen simply didn't take the shot. He was injured himself. At this time, it was meaningless to force the shot. Besides, I don't know where the courage of these 3 idiots came from. They couldn't even deal with themselves against Brother Feng. Boom. There was no dazzling shot. No matter how many opponents rushed over, Qin Feng punched him anyway. The man who rushed in the front suffered, punching hard in the chest. The body flew backwards uncontrollably and slammed into the wall fiercely. The man's eyes were full of incredulity. He didn't even see Qin Feng's moves and movements clearly. How could this be possible? Puff. I still felt aggrieved in my heart, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. For this kind of person, Qin Feng didn't have any intention of showing mercy and sent him to meet the so-called Amaterasu with 1 punch. The remaining 2 people gasped, but now that the arrow is on the line, they have to send it. In the roar, Japanese swords attacked from the left and right sides, and when approaching Qin Feng, there was a clever change, which seemed to form a death cross in midair to deal with other people. This kind of change may make sense, or it may catch people off guard. The problem is that their opponent is Qin Feng. Cold-eyed, waited for a few minutes. Qin Feng came first. The left and right hands shot at the same time, like a dual purpose, perfectly avoiding the attacking Japanese sword. Boom. The 2 of they punched hard at the same time, slammed their bodies heavily on the ground, and blood spurted out. Compared with the other people, these 2 people were lucky. At least they were not directly killed. However, there was no time to rejoice that Qin Feng was already in front of the 2 of them. Lifting their feet and stepping down, they crushed one of their fingers respectively. The pain in their hearts made the 2 of them unable to bear it any longer and let out a waiting sound. Qin Feng looked at Sanada Miao. Are you alright? I'm fine. I am fine. I'm fine. Before Qin Feng could ask Qin Wen, he already said, don't worry, Brother Feng, I'm fine. I just suffered a little injury. Qin Feng nodded, looked at Sanada Miayu and said, tell them, I have no patience. Ask them who sent them, and where is the Black Hand now. By the way, they don't have to say, I'm happy to let them die directly. The rest, I'll check it out myself. Sanada Miayu nodded and directly translated Qin Feng's words to the 2 point at this time. The security personnel arranged by Sanada Miayu arrived one after another. As a result, there was nothing to help. Sanada Miayu simply waved and let the security personnel leave. First point after the two of them heard Sanada Miayu's translation, there was some hesitation in their expressions. Qin Feng doesn't talk nonsense at all, so why make a fuss if he can do it? He got up again and crushed one of the two people's fingers. Sanada Miayu's expression did not change, and he couldn't accept it in his heart. Qin Feng looked very gentle and elegant, but he didn't expect that when he was really ruthless, there was no room for negotiation at all. At the last chance, the two of them are reluctant to say it. I will not force it. If one of them speaks, the other will have no need to live. Translate this word to them. It is good. Not to mention, Sanada Miayu is a very competent translator, and he translated it for the two of them very quickly. For a while, the expressions of the two were unpredictable, and they were all worried that the other companion would not be able to hold it. First of all, wouldn't the one who is still insisting become a big fool? Of course, there's nothing wrong with being a fool, but looking at Qin Feng's meaning, another thing he didn't say, he didn't even have the chance to be a fool, but sent them to hell. I say. The two people who didn't want to speak just now are now scrambling to tell the secret. Qin Feng's expression didn't change. He knew human nature too well, so he deliberately left two people behind. What he wanted was the current effect. Signaling Sanada Miayu to write down what the two said, Qin Feng checked Qin Wen's injury. It is indeed a bit heavy, but fortunately, the muscles and bones are not injured. The spiritual energy in the body is still strong, and the normal cultivation will recover. Sanada Miayu asked a few more questions. Obviously, after asking clearly, he turned to Qin Feng. Mr. Qin, I asked them all. They shouldn't tell lies. Now, how to deal with them? Qin Feng said casually, you can do whatever you want. The two killers were very flustered, and they spoke again and again, saying that it was not counted if they could not speak, and their lives would be spared. Qin Wen didn't have any hesitation at this time. He stepped forward, and the sword light flashed in his hand. The two killers, who were still begging for mercy, had no time to react, and were stabbed to the point by the long swords, fell to the ground, and died of anger. Sanada Miayu was stunned. Qin Wen had already opened his mouth and said, to win people like this, it's a waste of food and air to keep them. Besides, even if Brother Feng promised them, he would spare their lives, but I didn't agree, so it's just right for me to send them both to hell. Sanada Miss Miayu, you don't think it's inappropriate to do this, do you? Sanada Miayu pondered for a while, then shook his head and said, it's definitely not. I know very well that, if Mr. Qin hadn't arrived, the people who were going to die would probably have been the two of us at that time. They wouldn't have given us a chance to survive. Treating the enemy with kindness means treating ourselves to ourselves the greatest cruelty. Okay, I have to say one more thing. Your Chinese dialect is absolutely 10th level, very powerful. When Qin Wen spoke, he also gave Sanada Miayu a thumbs up. Qin Feng said at this time, okay, stop talking about those useless things. Qin Wen looked a little embarrassed and said, Brother Feng, I am sorry, I've embarrassed you, and I've embarrassed Tukao village. Qin Feng waved his hand with a gentle expression. Don't say such meaningless dejected words. I asked you to protect Miss Sanada Miayu. Isn't she safe now? Your mission is not a failure. By the way, Miss Sanada, tell me, who are these people? Who sent them? The two of them. Do you know where the mastermind is hiding? Sanada Miayu's pretty face was a little hesitant, and after a while, she said, the two of them did say it, but I can't say it right now. Especially I can't tell you. Qin Feng hadn't spoken yet, but Qin Wen couldn't help it. I'm going. Sanada Miayu, what do you mean by that? Is this the rhythm of revenge for kindness? Chapter 292 is not a gentleman. The more Qin Wen said, the more excited he became. Sanada Miayu, have you forgotten why Brother Feng came here? Now, you know the specific situation, but you won't say anything. You. Qin Feng waved his hand, interrupting the emotional Qin Wen, and said in a gentle voice, Miss Sanada must have her reasons for doing this. Don't get excited, and listen to her finish. He opened his mouth, although there was still a lot of dissatisfaction in his heart. Qin Wen couldn't say anything more. The look on Sanada Miao's pretty face was slightly complicated. Mr. Qin, I don't have any disrespect for you, or any other bad thoughts. You can also see that these people are extremely vicious. Although I know the mastermind behind the scenes, it is not clear how many of them there are. If you go, there may be danger. I think this matter can be discussed in the long run. Qin Wen froze for a moment, then immediately changed his face and gestured with his thumb. Oh, I have to say, it's still Miss Sanada. You are thoughtful. I was too careful just now. Don't worry about it. What you say in China is not very good. Compared with you, why do I feel like a foreign country? People. Sect master, they are right. Don't be too anxious about this matter. When I recover from the injury, I'll let my sister Qin Yao and the others come together. Let's find the mastermind behind these grandchildren. Qin Feng smiled and said calmly, this is not a question for the two of you to consider. Tell me the answer directly. Sanada. Miu shook her head again. Mr. Qin, I can't say it. I remember that you have an old saying in China. It is not too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Qin Feng waved his hand and didn't let Sanada Miao continue. There is such a saying, but I've never been a gentleman, and I don't agree that 10 years are never too late. To put it bluntly, it's still because I don't have the ability to take revenge and comfort myself. My revenge, the revenge of the Qin family, is basically reported on the spot. No need to wait. When he spoke, his expression was not ferocious, but he gave people a sense of confidence. Sanada Miao didn't know what to say for a while. Qin Feng spoke again. Your kindness is appreciated, but I won't stay in Japan for too long. Before I leave, I have to get rid of this trouble. As for the danger, I think it's because you are overly concerned. If so, you should also worry about those people. Qin Wen sighed, feeling that what Brother Feng said didn't seem to be wrong at all. Qin Wen absolutely trusts Qin Feng's strength. Even from the beginning to the present, Qin Wen does not know what Qin Feng's limit is. Where Sanada Miao's pretty face was a little helpless. Well, if I don't say it again, it's as if I have something to do with those behind the scenes. But you must be careful. When the voice fell, Sanada Miao took out her mobile phone, located a location, and pointed it to Qin Feng. He's talking about here. There are few people there, and the Tibetans are just right. I guess he didn't lie. Qin Feng nodded and said casually, okay, you two wait here in peace. I'll go and be back soon. The tone and demeanor of his speech did not look like he was going to do anything dangerous at all, but more like he was going to visit relatives and friends. Sanada Miao was somewhat worried and couldn't help but reminded, Mr. Qin, you must do what you can. If you need any help, feel free to contact me. Qin Wen followed at this time and said, Brother Feng, among them, there is a pair of twins. Their shots are very sharp and strange. It's like they have the same mind. I was a little careless at the time, and the injury was in the hands of the two of them. If you come this time, you must be more careful. Okay, what you said, I remembered everything. Just wait with peace of mind. Qin Feng didn't say much nonsense, and soon left Sanada Miao's house, disappearing in a blink of an eye in the dark night. Not long after, there was an abandoned manor at the location, marked by Miu Sanada. The population of the Japanese country was originally small. In the night, in such a suburban place, there were very few people. In addition, the weather was a little bad today, and there were no people to be seen, which made the abandoned manor look like more desolate. Only after the room inside will you find out there is something special there. Not to mention luxurious, the decoration is at least very comfortable, which is in stark contrast to the dilapidated outside. At this time, more than a dozen Japanese men were gathered there, drinking rice wine, eating fish fillets, and talking about things. Watanabe-san, nothing happened tonight, right? Don't worry, that Sanada Miao and the kid from Huaksha will surely die. I heard that someone from Huaksha came here. It's probably the leader of the Qin family, Qin Feng. His strength is still scary. It's too risky to send someone to attack him, according to my opinion. Whether he is Qin Feng or not, we are not afraid of him at all. It's just that some people are too worried and don't want to deal with Qin Feng now. The person who went to deal with Qin Feng is just an abandoned pawn. He is destined to die. The effect is to delay time. Oh, I see. Our real goal tonight is Sanada Miayu. If we can catch the two of them alive, it's naturally the best. If they die, it's okay. It's difficult for such people to catch them alive. It doesn't matter if you live or die. Let's get rid of them first. Even if Qin Feng comes, this is our country, and he will definitely have no return. The people present were in good spirits, and the discussions were very lively. The topic soon came to Qin Feng. It sounds like Qin Feng could die without a burial in minutes, even if Qin Feng really came. Come on, drink, everyone, with a hello. These people continued to drink. Point after a while, a short and fat man frowned and said suspiciously, "Why do I feel something is wrong?" "What's wrong? Don't you think it seems that we suddenly have one more person? I think you're drunk. Aren't you still one of us?" The chubby man looked puzzled. "Yes." Looking around, he quickly counted the people in the room. At this time, the face of the short and fat man suddenly changed, and he blurted out, "No, definitely not. We really have one more person." Hearing this, these people present had different expressions. Some were shocked, some were not convinced. Everyone was very confident, and they didn't think that someone could sneak in suddenly. Point at this moment, an indifferent voice sounded, "Are you looking for me?" The 290th chapters come, then fight. More than a dozen people in the room, following the voice of the voice, found a young man with sword eyebrows and star eyes. I don't know when, he was sitting in front of the table, drinking rice wine calmly. Point even though the two closest people don't know when he came. Hoo-hoo. For a time, all of these people present stood up and looked at the young man, their expressions full of alertness. The chunky man narrowed his eyes and asked coldly, "Who are you?" At this time, it can only be Qin Feng. Point it doesn't matter whether the other party can understand or not. He just replied calmly, "Aren't you guys talking about how to deal with me just now? It just so happens that I am Qin Feng. Didn't I come here by myself?" Many people looked at a loss. They really didn't understand, but they heard the pronunciation of the word Qin Feng, and their expressions were more alert. Point fortunately, there was a tall man among them who could understand and whispered a few words beside the short and fat man. Point squinting his eyes, the chunky man exhaled. "It turns out that you are Qin Feng. It seems that you are here to die yourself." Although they already had this idea, after hearing the confirmation from their companions, the expressions of others were more or less a little surprised. Point they never thought that they were still talking a moment ago, and then, the person they were talking about, just to the front. This is a bit unbelievable. Point all became more nervous and alert. Point don't look at when talking one by one is not good. It seems that it can really kill Qin Feng in minutes. It's just that Qin Feng's reputation is too loud. At least so far, he is still the #1 immortal cultivator in the world without any controversy. No one else can't help but be nervous. The chubby man calmed down and said, "Don't panic everyone. Even if he is really Qin Feng, what can he do? He doesn't have 3 heads and 6 arms, right? We have a lot of people, and since this is our place, how can we be afraid of him?" That's right, he's really Qin Feng. Now, let's do it one step at a time. As long as this kid is killed, what kind of Huaxia Kim family, from now on, will no longer be arrogant? Yes, kill this kid to avoid future troubles. More people are more powerful, and there is another great advantage. There are more people, and at least they can be bold. Following your words, these Japanese men present are not so afraid. From the beginning to now, Qin Feng has been sitting there calmly, and in the mood to say, "This rice wine tastes good." What is he talking about? The chunky man looked at his companion who could understand Huaxia just now. The tall man was a little surprised, but he never thought that Qin Feng could still be so calm until now. Point. After thinking about it, I still translate what Qin Feng said. Point others frowned unconsciously, thinking about the same thing in their hearts. This kid is so arrogant. Point the chubby man laughs arrogantly. Brothers, listen to what this kid said. Is that still human? He just didn't treat us like humans. This is a humiliation, a naked humiliation. Today, only blood can be used to wash away this humiliation. Yes, let this kid die in the burial place and see how rampant he is. The chunky man took a deep breath and shouted loudly, "Don't hesitate, let's go together and let him die. Kill, go. Together, in." The roar. More than 10 people rushed directly to Qin Feng. Even at this time, Qin Feng was still sitting there calmly, with no intention of getting up at all. The other Japanese people were tickled by their angry teeth. However, no matter how angry they were, and more than 10 people rushed together, it was impossible to fight Qin Feng together. In the final analysis, the space was limited, and if they died, there were only 5 or 6 people who launched sharp attacks on Qin Feng from different angles. Of course, the attack seems to be sharp, but in fact, several people are a little uneasy in their hearts. This person is Qin Feng. I'm not afraid. How is it possible? They all wanted to let others talk about Qin Feng's strength first, and then make a decision. The speed of the shot was not as fast as expected. However, even if it was delayed, the situation had changed, and someone would still approach Qin Feng first. The Japanese man who attacked from behind, his eyes were blood red, and his whole body was full of strong suffocation. You don't have to think about it to know that he became a cultivator under the influence of the interweaving of aura and savagery between heaven and earth. Gritting his teeth, the man decided to go all out. Anyway, it was a sneak attack from behind. No matter how powerful Qin Feng was, he might not be able to take care of it. Besides, if he could really kill, or even have a chance to injure Qin Feng, then it would be enough to make him famous in the whole world. Okay. There was still a fantasy in his heart. The next moment, Qin Feng, who was sitting there, suddenly turned slightly sideways. The whole action doesn't look fancy, and it even gives the impression that the speed is not surprisingly fast. The problem is that the control of the timing is extremely precise. The Japanese man who attacked from behind completely failed. The next moment, Qin Feng already had a chopstick on the table in his hand. They waved their hands at will, but the others didn't have time to see the specific movements this time. They just heard a sound. PFFD. This sound is like a weapon piercing into the body. Immediately afterwards, a heart-piercing scream came from the mouth of the man who attacked from behind. The others fixed their eyes and took in a breath of cold air. The chopstick accurately pierced the palm of the Japanese man's hand, and blood was poured out. The constant dripping, this kind of pain, makes my spine feel cold just thinking about it. Several other people, taking advantage of the opportunity of their companions, attacked Qin Feng. Die. Kill. These people have blood-red eyes, full of ill will, as if there is an inexhaustible hatred between them and Qin Feng. They are ruthless, and they are rushing to kill Qin Feng. PFFT. Without giving any time to react, a man's palm was pierced by chopsticks again. Following that, one person's heavy punch failed to hit Qin Feng, but mashed the oncoming wine glass. Crack. The wine glass shattered, and the residue splashed and flew. Qin Feng, who was still sitting there, waved his hand. Woohoo. In a trance, there was a shrill wind, which suddenly stirred in the room. The fragments of those wine glasses were originally in the state of the goddess scattered flowers, but at this time, they seemed to be turned into sharp blades one by one. Under the blessing of the wind blade, the speed and strength exceeded the expectations of those present. PFFT. Puff. What? The earth-shattering scream sounded again. The Japanese man who smashed the wine glass just now ate his own fruit. The fragments of the wine glass were all stabbed in the face. Blood splashed, and it looked extremely bloody and terrifying. The 290-40H chapter should have this consciousness. At this moment, the expressions of the other Japanese people present completely changed. Sure enough, Qin Feng can be called the #1 immortal cultivator. His strength is not bragging, but really powerful to an outrageous level. In the blink of an eye, the three of them lost their combat effectiveness, and they couldn't even think about it before. Squinting his eyes, the chunky man gritted his teeth and said, "Don't be afraid, this kid must die, let's go together." Qin Feng drank the rice wine calmly and said slowly, "Don't use such meaningless words to cover up the fear in your heart. Since you dare to provoke the Qin family, you should have the awareness that you will be found. Today, someone must die, but it is definitely not me." Hearing the translation of his subordinates, the short and fat man instinctively became nervous, but on his face, he must not show fear, otherwise, other people would not dare to continue to shoot. Okay, go on, kill him. This time, the chunky man took the lead and charged Qin Feng with all his strength. I have to say that this person's strength is somewhat formidable. His eyes are blood red, and his arrogance is overwhelming. When he hits it, he is like a cannonball coming out of the chamber. Qin Feng actually still had time to take a sip of rice wine calmly. The next moment, the short and fat man was already in front of him. Roll. Indifferently highlighting a word, Qin Feng's energy roamed away, followed, and punched out. If it is said that the impact of the short and fat man can be regarded as powerful, then Qin Feng's shot at this time is definitely a vast explosion of power. The other people present unconsciously had the urge to worship. After living for so many years and becoming immortal cultivators, they believed that their strength had improved quite quickly, but they had never seen a fist that was stronger than this. The short and fat man had already regretted it a little at this time, so he shouldn't have chosen to charge himself in order to boost morale, and he should have let others consume Qin Feng. Unfortunately, it was too late to regret it now. The chunky man could only grit his teeth, raise his arms, and defend with all his strength. Boom. Qin Feng's heavy punch, without any other bells and whistles, was a precise hit. The next moment, the short and fat man could not describe the tyranny and vastness of that power. It feels a bit like a monstrous wave, falling back in an instant, all the strength, flooding in a short moment, without giving any chance to breathe. Crack. The sound of bone shattering is unavoidable. With a scream, the man's body, like a meatball, was smashed and flew out. Bang, bang. At the moment of hitting the wall, the follow-up force was still surging, making the wall overwhelmed. A big hole appeared in the middle, and the body of the short and fat man was smashed and flew out. After a while, it seemed that a heavy landing sound was heard. After a while, it seemed that a heavy landing sound was heard. There were no screams. There were only two possibilities. Either the short and fat man was already dead at this time, or he passed out completely. The faces of the others became very pale. They all witnessed Qin Feng's shot just now. They felt that the short and fat man was 80% dead. He had seen one fierce, but he had never seen one fiercer than Qin Feng. If at the beginning, there really was an idea that they would be able to move the world by killing Qin Feng, then, by now, this idea has long since vanished. Instead, they are constantly thinking, what? How to survive. Qin Feng was still drinking calmly, even with a smile on the corner of his mouth. You Japanese people, don't you advocate the spirit of Bushido? Why don't you dare now? Come on, I'm right here. Use all your skills. Let me see whether you have a decisive death courage. After speaking, Qin Feng glanced at the tall Japanese man. Like a blessing to the heart, the tall man did not hesitate and translated Qin Feng's words to his companions. He was a little fortunate in his heart. After all, Qin Feng is from China, and he needs an interpreter now. As long as other people don't die, at least you'll be fine. You see, mastering one more language is such a mid-level requirement. At critical moments, it can really save lives. After the others heard it, their faces were different. I wanted to make a move, but after thinking about the tragic situation of a few companions just now, I really don't have the courage. Okay. For a while, the room was surprisingly silent, only Qin Feng's calm drinking voice. Just when looking at some stalemate, a cold voice sounded. Are you Qin Feng? Very well, we finally waited for you. As the voice fell, the door of the room was opened, and two men in black robes walked slowly. The pace of the two people is surprisingly consistent. Qin Feng's observation power is much stronger than that of ordinary people. At this time, he has already felt that not only the frequency of walking, but also the frequency of breathing is the same point. If it weren't for two people standing there, you would suspect that it was one person. Qin Feng's expression didn't change, and his heart was already ringing. Before coming, Qin Wen once said that he was injured by a pair of powerful twins. Looking at the appearance in front of him, he didn't need to think about it. It was only possible. It was them. There are 2 points soon. The two stood a few meters away from Qin Feng in unison, unable to see their faces, or even what their eyes looked like, as if everything was shrouded in darkness. When they are not moving, it is natural to blend in with everything else around them. Qin Feng was still drinking and said casually, "It looks like a dog. I'm afraid you two are not even people, right?" The two men in black robes could not feel the emotional change. It seemed that they did not feel angry because of Qin Feng's words. Instead, they said in Chinese dialect, "Sect Master Qin has good eyesight, but what you said is just your own opinion. In the eyes of our two brothers, we are much nobler than you ordinary people like ants." Obviously, from the very beginning of the meeting, Qin Feng judged that the two men in black robes were not ordinary people, but humanoids transformed from beasts. These two alien beasts are also very open and above board. They didn't hide it at all. They admitted it so generously. The feeling of speaking seems to be somewhat similar to Qin Feng's, and they are full of confidence. To put it bluntly, the two did not think Qin Feng could be their opponent. At this time, the man on the left, who had not spoken, also spoke in Chinese dialect. "Perhaps you should understand that if it wasn't for you, that kid named Qin Wen wouldn't be alive now. The reason why we are here is to wait for your arrival. Anyway, you have lived for too long. Chapter 295 The Little Doorway. Qin Feng's age is not old. The other party said this, obviously in an angry tone, wishing Qin Feng died immediately. After laughing, Qin Feng didn't want to get angry and said calmly, "No way. When I was a child, my mother asked me to find a master to calculate a hexagram. Life is hard, and it is destined to live 100 years. Are you angry?" The aura around the two black men felt a little chilly at the same time, as if the temperature in the entire room dropped to freezing point in an instant. "I don't have time to joke with you. Today is destined to be your death," Qin Feng said in disapproval. "Are you so confident? Listening to what you mean, it is to deliberately target Qin Wen, and then I want to wait for me to come to Japan and take the opportunity to make a move. It stands to reason that you should not tell me this, and then, when you make a move, come by surprise. Maybe there is a certain chance that it will cause some difficulties for me, but now, you can't." When the words fell, Qin Feng shook his fingers casually. In that way, he didn't take the two black-robed men, or alien beasts, in his eyes at all. The other Japanese people present were a little angry in their hearts, and felt that Qin Feng's words were also crazy. The problem is, those people haven't been able to refute, mainly because Qin Feng took action to clean up several of them neatly. Now, what's the use of being stubborn? You really shouldn't he come today. This is the worst decision you've ever made in your life. Qin Feng smiled, pushed the wine glass aside, and said, "You don't need to talk so much nonsense. Is it possible? Do you think saliva can drown people? If you want to do it, just come directly. At that time, you will understand who is the one who made the wrong decision. Since you are bent on dying, our brothers naturally want to fulfill you." As the voice of the man in the black robe on the left fell, a black mist filled the room instantly. Crack, boom. The lights in the room were broken without any sign, and now, darkness completely invaded. Don't worry about Qin Feng for now. Those Japanese people are instinctively a little flustered. In the past, I just heard that I can't see my fingers, but now, because of the rapid development of technology, no one has a bright future. That kind of feeling, I thought it would only exist in legends. Who knows, just tonight, at this very moment, I really realized what it feels like to reach out and not see my 5 fingers. Qin Feng had already stood up at this time. In the final analysis, these two black-robed men were different from the immortal cultivators in the Japanese country, and they had to be more cautious in dealing with them. Point after the darkness spread, the two men in black robes seemed to disappear in an instant, or in other words, two people who were a bit evil in themselves. At this moment, they had completely merged with the darkness. If it was someone else, I must have panicked in my heart. No one knows when the two men in black robes did it in such a dark situation. Qin Feng stood there quietly, breathing steadily, and there was no obvious change in his handsome face. Suddenly, Qin Feng dodged to the left. Hey, after the sharp blade, a chair was cut off where Qin Feng was just now. Before that, you couldn't even feel any strong wind. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. He finally knew why Qin Wen was hurt in the hands of these two people. The two men in black robes were holding daggers in their hands, and their bodies were black. When they shot, the daggers would collide with each other in the air without making any sound. Instead, they would cancel out the sound of the strong wind. Lose. Ordinary people face this situation, as if their vision and hearing are restricted at the same time, then the situation must be extremely dangerous. As for Qin Feng's ability to evade the two people's sneak attack, that's because, no matter how powerful and strange moves are, there is still a certain imperfection. The two people's shots only reduce the sound to the greatest extent point at the moment. It will also cause the surrounding airflow to change. Ordinary people, including immortal cultivators with average strength, are difficult to perceive, but Qin Feng's perception ability is definitely a bug-level existence. After the first attack of the two failed, they followed and attacked again. Qin Feng took a step to the left, and if he slowed down by half a minute, I'm afraid that at this time, Qin Feng's throat would have 2 more holes. The two men in black robes, who were invincible, continued to launch fierce attacks, each attacking from a different angle, making it hard to guard against. Although Qin Feng was able to deal with it, at the beginning, he was somewhat unsuitable for this kind of confrontation. After avoiding the opponent's 6 or 7 moves, Qin Feng unknowingly retreated to the edge of the room, with the wall behind him, which means that the space for dodging has been compressed a lot. It was also at this time that the two who found the opportunity made a lightning strike point. The two daggers were clearly colliding in midair, but there was no sound, and the sound of the strong wind was completely out. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes slightly, but in the next moment, he did not choose to dodge again, but suddenly stood still. Even in the dark, Qin Feng at this time stood like a javelin, rather than bend. Sword come, he exhaled, and the next moment, a golden halo flickered, followed by a colorful color. However, under the suppression of darkness, the range of light irradiated was very small, very small. However, in the darkness, accompanied by a colorful halo, and a roaring sound like a dragon's roar, resounded throughout the room. Those so-called immortal practitioners in the Japanese country, not long ago, were similar to the blind and deaf, but at this time, they heard the voice of the dragon, and their faces changed involuntarily. But, the Langine sword was already in Qin Feng's hands, and when he flipped his wrist, it swept across the 8 wastes in one move, and countless wind blades swayed around. Although the darkness covered the colorful halo, it couldn't stop the sharp wind blades. The two men in black robes were thinking of inflicting heavy damage on Qin Feng just now, but at this time, they were already facing fierce counterattacks. It has to be said that the two of them are almost in the same mind as Qin Wen said, and they stopped without any hesitation. Crack, crack. The power of the wind blade counterattacked, making a substantial sound of shattering. The next moment, the dragon yuan sword in Qin Feng's hand followed, and the faces of the two men in black robes changed at the same time. The decisiveness of Qin Feng's counterattack, including the speed and strength of the counterattack, exceeded their expectations to a certain extent. Without any communication, the two stepped back at the same time point. At this time, Qin Feng felt that Qin Wen's words were absolutely correct. These two people are definitely twins. Otherwise, how could there be such an amazing tacit understanding? The real decisive battle, at this moment, will definitely enter the white-hot stage. Chapter 296 Magic Height. The successive retreats made the two men in black robes successfully avoid the incoming dragon yuan sword. Qin Feng stepped forward, and the Langine sword appeared again. You must know that this is an imperial soldier made of real immortal gold, and the momentum is unparalleled between shots. No matter how strong the two black-robed men were, they had to choose to keep avoiding the edge point in the blink of an eye. The two of them were forced to the corner of their lives. Destroy. As soon as the sword came out, there were countless sword flowers surging, and it followed the dazzling light, and in the darkness, they all bloomed with a different kind of light point. The space where the two men in black robes were hiding was compressed at an extreme speed. At this time, there was no better way to avoid it. At the same time, he shouted, "Kill." The daggers went up and collided in midair. Not only did not weaken the strength of the two shots, but they complemented each other, making the sword ki burst out from the daggers to catch up with the Langine sword in an instant, reaching the level of rivalry. At this moment, there is no retreat at all. Qin Feng is pressing forward continuously, and the two men in black robes are also not retreating at all, just to compete at the peak. Dang. Long, the loud noise after the impact is very strange. Crack, crack. The position of the three people made a cracking sound at the same time, which was the result of the floor being overwhelmed. The spiritual energy in Qin Feng's body continued to wander. At this moment, it was like the falling of a vast star. The boundless power burst out in the shortest time, even more majestic than the initial power. The two men in black robes never expected that they would fight to the end. Qin Feng's momentum still rose against the trend. Bang, click. After the two backed away, their bodies hit the wall. The walls of the Japanese buildings were relatively fragile, and at this moment, they collapsed. Those so-called immortal cultivators in the Japanese country are completely stupid. It's not that they didn't think about going up to help and encircling Qin Feng together. However, when the duel reached the white-hot stage, they realized that it was not a level at all. If they rushed up at this time, not to help, but to die. The two men in black robes stepped back one after another. Obviously, the strong collision just now caused them to suffer in varying degrees. Naturally, Qin Feng couldn't give the two of them a chance to breathe and adjust. Lightning rushed up, and the Langayan sword hummed again and again. It really gave people the feeling of a dragon reappearing and roaring in the sky. The two men in black robes were completely suppressed, and the space for dodging was still in a state of continuous compression. At the critical moment, the two suddenly tacitly dodged to the left and right sides to avoid the incoming dragon Yuan sword point. The next moment, the two of them acted very similarly. They didn't launch any counterattacks against Qin Feng, and they went to the side. The immortal cultivator of the Japanese country was caught. Roar. The roar of the alien beast suddenly erupted. Under the black robe, a bloody mouth suddenly opened, and the two were directly swallowed up by the panicked cries of the immortal cultivators in the Japanese country. Crunch, crunch. The blood splattered like a purgatory on earth. The two immortal cultivators in the Japanese country were swallowed and eaten like this, and the two men in black robes had long since disappeared. Or, it was an opportunity to reveal their true bodies. His eyes were like small searchlights, exuding a cold, blood-red light. His whole body was black, and he looked a bit like a tiger. However, his head had a single horn, and his fangs were more than a foot long, which looked extremely sharp. The body was nearly 10 meters in size, and after showing up, the entire room collapsed completely due to the continuous impact and collision. Boom. With the dust flying, not only the room, where it was just now, but even most of the abandoned factories collapsed in response. This time, it was truly scrapped. Hoo-hoo. The two black tiger-like beasts looked almost identical. Under normal circumstances, if it is similar to a tiger, there will rarely be two voices together. Otherwise, the tiger in the real world will not gradually become a precious species that is on the verge of extinction. Obviously, this is also among the alien beasts' special case. It makes the two black tigers and beasts have the special ability to think through their minds. What's even more surprising is that after the two black tigers and beasts devoured the so-called immortal cultivators in the Japanese country, the savage aura they displayed at this time has already been rising as a whole. This is not the end. The two fierce tigers and beasts continue to save. In front of the truly powerful alien beasts, those Japanese people who rely on absorbing malice or spiritual energy to become immortal cultivators simply can't dodge net. During the whole process, the momentum of the fierce tiger and beast continued to rise, faintly, as if the body was a little bigger. At this time, it should be more than 10 meters, and the feeling was extremely terrifying and depressing. Qin Feng watched with a cold eye, silently guarding, but he had already thought of a possibility. Could it be that those so-called immortal cultivators, after being swallowed by alien beasts, will make the combat power of alien beasts soar? If this is really the case, the spiritual energy between that day and the earth will become more intense, and things mixed with hostility will become more complicated. If we speculate according to this line of thinking, is it in the original world, those alien beasts have been unable to absorb the aura and suffocation between heaven and earth, and need to be changed through a medium, so there is the invasion of alien beasts of all races. Only the fusion of the two worlds, the rich aura seems to be a gift. Conversely, it can also be said to be a real talisman, making those who can absorb the aura the best food for those beasts, or a special tonic. At this time, Qin Feng could no longer think about it. Roar. The two fierce tigers and beasts opened their bloody mouths and roared continuously. At the same time, there was a thick black mist that continuously sprayed out from the mouths of the two fierce tigers and beasts, and the surroundings became even darker. Immediately following, two fierce tigers and beasts rushed towards Qin Feng as fast as black lightning. Qin Feng suddenly stood still and turned his wrist point. The humming sound like a raw dragon resounded throughout the night sky, and the dragon Yuan sword once again emitted a golden light point as the fighting spirit continued to rise. The golden halo gradually turned into a colorful color, and there were countless the sword flowers danced and condensed together. Crack, crack. The ground couldn't bear Qin Feng's peak power and kept making cracking sounds. The two fierce tigers and beasts opened their bloody mouths and roared one after another, charging with all their strength. It looked like two black torrents, with the peak strength, that devoured and destroyed everything. Qin Feng squinted his eyes. After these two beasts were transformed into human figures, he kept thinking about drawing Qin Feng out. It really happened twice. At least, at this moment, the overall momentum of the two fierce tigers and beasts was stable. Overwhelmed Qin Feng. Chapter 297. God is 1 foot tall. Two fierce tigers and beasts continued to press forward. Under normal circumstances, perhaps Qin Feng should choose to step back, avoid the edge for a while, wait until he finds out where the limits of the two tigers and beasts are at this time, and then think about fighting back, or just choose to escape from here. The problem is, Qin Feng has always liked to go off the beaten path. Facing the direction of the two alien beasts, Qin Feng stepped directly, accumulating energy. Hey. There was a sharp friction sound between Qin Feng's feet and the ground. Break. It for me. The dragon Yuan sword is not weak when it encounters the weak, but stronger when it encounters the strong. Between the vertical and horizontal, the sound of the dragon's roar resounds throughout the sky. Qin Feng's overall momentum skyrocketed again. Fire. As Qin Feng's voice fell, the surrounding heat waves rolled around, and around the long iron sword, there was a scorching flame, and without any burning objects, it roared violently. This is a rootless fire, coming from the ground. No matter how powerful the alien beast is, even if it can transform into a human form, it is still a beast in its bones. As long as it is a beast, it will have a natural fear of fire. Perhaps after the strength is strong, those alien beasts can suppress that fear, and it is impossible to achieve absolute overcoming. The flames continued to rise and burn. At this moment, the dragon Yuan sword has completely transformed into a fire dragon in ancient legends, with extraordinary momentum. Two ferocious tigers and beasts, still roaring forward. The surrounding wind is constantly surging, flying sand and rocks. Ordinary people come here. It is not a matter of opening their eyes. They may be directly strangled by the tyrannical energy. Lose point. The flying sand and stone were quickly collided by the tyrannical force and twisted into powder. Qin Feng's speed is getting faster and faster, completely turning into an afterimage, and the dragon Yuan sword in his hand is constantly rotating, accompanied by the burning of the supreme fire. The overall momentum has ushered in the third soaring point. What is the unity of man and sword? Qin Feng at this time is the dragon Yuan sword, and the dragon Yuan sword is a part of Qin Feng. This is the real unity of the human and the sword, and there is no dispute to discuss. Die. Qin Feng's expression does not show the slightest bit of grimness, and when he speaks, there is no hoarseness, but this voice, despite the turbulent surrounding wind, can't be suppressed, and it is extremely clear. Roar, roar. The two ferocious tigers and beasts roared in the sky and opened their bloody mouths. It seemed that they were going to confront Qin Feng head on to devour everything and destroy everything in front of them. Crack, crack. The strong wind surging around Qin Feng, and the strong wind brought by the two alien beasts, all seemed to exist in reality, constantly colliding with each other, making bursts of cracking sounds. The sky and the earth changed color. Around the two tigers and beasts, the thick black fog continued to render the dark color, but around Qin Feng, a colorful halo soared against the sky, and the flames continued to burn majestic. If someone can look down from the sky, Qin Feng and the two tigers and beasts at this moment are like the ultimate confrontation between light and darkness. Boom. With an earth-shattering explosion, the dragon Yuan sword and the tiger and beast collided fiercely. For a moment, the surrounding colorful halo, together with the burning flame, began to dim. Judging from this aspect alone, we all knew that Qin Feng was clearly at a disadvantage point. It's just that the colorful halo, as well as the burning flame, revealed an unyielding will point at the same time. The spiritual energy in Qin Feng's the body continued to wander, just like the continuous flood of floods and blood, and the overall momentum ushered in an incredible fourth surge. Kill. Qin Feng's voice penetrated the darkness. At this moment, the colorful halo suddenly soared, and the burning of the flame also became hot again. The comparison of the whole momentum has been completely turned over by Qin Feng point in the blood-red eyes of the two mighty tigers and beasts. Although the existence of ill will can still be seen, there is already a little more fear and unbelievable humanization. Qin Feng's strength exceeded the expectations of the two alien beasts. If the alien beast is as powerful as a demon, and after devouring the immortal cultivators in the Japanese country, it has ushered in a heaven-defying enhancement, then Qin Feng has gone beyond the scope of ordinary people, but is a real godlike existence. Let the demonic energy rise to the sky. The gods are here, the demons are forbidden. PFFT. With the crisp sound of a weapon piercing into the flesh, blood spurted out. The alien beast on the left was pierced by the Langian sword from its mouth, piercing the entire head. No matter how strong the energy, how tyrannical and hard bone and flesh, could not stop the sharp Langian sword. This is not the end. After killing a strange beast, the brilliance on the Dragon sword burst into bloom again. The surrounding heat waves rolled, and the flames continued to burn. The ferocious tiger and beast on the right, because of the death of his companion, let out a mournful wailing from his mouth. But unfortunately, before it had time to take revenge, the Langian sword stabbed in response. It was almost indescribable, and under the agitation of the sword flower, the space where the tigers and beasts were avoided was completely locked. PFFT. It was almost a repeat of the scene just now. The tiger and beast on the right was also pierced by the Dragon sword. No matter how unwilling they were, the huge bodies of the two alien beasts fell to the ground one after another. After the innocent fire was summoned by Qin Feng, it seemed that they had a mission that belonged to them. The corpses of the two alien beasts were already on fire. It didn't take long for the huge corpse to burn cleanly. The colorful halo and the scorching flames have dissipated, but the surrounding darkness has also been completely dissipated, restoring the night as it should have been, and the tranquility it should have had. Except for Qin Feng, everyone in the abandoned factory, including the two extremely ferocious beasts, were completely wiped out. If it weren't for the complete collapse of the abandoned factory, it would seem that everything in front of me had never happened, and it would seem so unreal. Qin Feng coughed slightly. Although he was not injured, defeating these two alien beasts was exhausting after all. He silently took a few deep breaths. The spiritual energy in his body circulated around itself. Qin Feng's body was already recovering at a high-speed stage point rising from the wind. Qin Feng left here, ready to meet Sanada Miaiyu and Qin Wen first, and tell them both that the matter here has been temporarily resolved, and the follow-up, maybe there is still any danger. The two of them sufficient vigilance must be maintained. Then, Qin Feng will rush back to Huaxia as soon as possible. If the speculation about the biggest purpose after the invasion of alien beasts is correct, then Huaxia, and even the whole world at this time, may have fallen under the control of all races, alien beasts and demons in the trap. This matter must be taken seriously. If you let it develop like this, the real end of the world is just around the corner. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298 Never Sloppy. Sanada Miaiyu and Qin Wen have been waiting anxiously. It is one thing to have confidence in Qin Feng. However, Qin Feng is not just kidding. What a surprise. Frowning slightly, Sanada Miaiyu said a lot. You sit down and stop the meeting. Qin Wen has been pacing, and after hearing this, he muttered with some dissatisfaction. I'm not in a hurry, but you don't seem to be in a hurry. I'm also worried. The problem is, you walk around, it won't do anything. Maybe it will make your injury worse. What we can do now is to wait with peace of mind. In any case, I still believe in Mr. Qin. It'll be fine. Hopefully, it's just, I always feel that the twins didn't seem to use all their strength when they dealt with me last time. When Sanada Miyu heard this, her pretty face changed slightly. What do you mean? Are you trying to say that the two of them are deliberately fishing for law enforcement, waiting for the arrival of sect Master Qin? Okay, you even know fishing law enforcement. I do have concerns about this. Otherwise, I'll call Brother Feng. Better not. Sanada Miyu look calm. If Sect Master Qin is in a latent state, you call him now, just to distract him. As soon as the word came to this, a familiar voice sounded. Qin Wen, when you are with Miss Sanada, you have to learn more, and you must be stable when encountering things. Both of them had surprised looks on their faces, stood up at the same time, and looked in the direction of the voice. Sure enough, there was a familiar figure of Qin Feng point at this moment. The two of them almost breathed a sigh of relief. Brother Feng, come back. Yes, I'm back. Whether it was Qin Wen or Sanada Miyu, they didn't ask any more questions. The two of them knew very well that, since Qin Feng was back, it meant that the matter would definitely be resolved satisfactorily. The only say is that this is too fast. It takes an estimated half an hour to go back and forth. If it is replaced by someone else, it is hard to say whether you have found the right place at this time. You can rest in peace. Qin Wen, take care of your injuries here and protect Miss Sanada's safety. If there is any problem that cannot be solved, be sure to remember and contact me in time. Qin Wen immediately nodded in response. Brother Feng, I know. Count the time. I should go back too. Sanada Miyu's pretty face was very surprised and blurted out, don't worry now, right? As far as I know, there is no flight back to Huaksha at this time. You can rest for the night first, and I will have someone arrange it tomorrow. No, I'll just go back by myself. The two immediately reacted. Qin Feng gave up flying, but wanted to fly back to China by flying in the wind. Sanada Miyu's heart moved and asked, Sect Master Qin, did something happen? Do you need my help? Qin Feng pondered for a while and did not hide it at all and told the two people about what he experienced in the abandoned factory. After listening to this, the faces of the two became very serious. Qin Wen said with a sigh, those two beasts are indeed fishing for law enforcement. They deliberately brought me here to let Brother Feng come forward. Fortunately, they were clever, but they were mistaken by cleverness. In the end, they both took their lives in. Sanada Miyu's judgment is much sharper than Qin Wen's, and he has discovered the core problem of this matter. Sect Master Qin, according to what you said, those two alien beasts can not only transform into human figures, but also, after swallowing up the immortal cultivator who absorbed the spiritual energy, their strength has been significantly enhanced. Is it possible that the spiritual energy between heaven and earth, the changes are all the layout of those beasts? That is, to use all our awakened spiritual cultivators as their food, to further enhance the strength of those beasts themselves. Hearing this, Qin Wen's face changed, and he directly exclaimed, I mean, if you don't tell me, I really didn't expect it. If I think about it now, it's really possible. Qin Feng was a little surprised. Sanada Miyu was smarter than he expected. To be honest, I also have speculations in this regard. At this stage, what we can do is a bit difficult. That is, we try to appeal to ordinary people, not to blindly absorb the spiritual energy and hostility between the heavens and the earth. Otherwise, it will bring them fatalities. Sanada Miyu frowned slightly and said with a sigh, I'm afraid they won't believe it. After tasting the sweetness of absorbing spiritual energy, they will not listen to the advice. That's right. That's why I said, it's a bit difficult to do these things, but, no matter how you look at it, you have to try to do it. If it's convenient for you, I hope you can appeal to the people on the Japanese side, to try not to absorb them. Perhaps in the future, we can find a way to crack the spiritual energy and suffocation between heaven and earth, but at present, there is basically no solution. After pondering for a while, Sanada Miyu's pretty face became very firm. Sect Master Qin, don't worry, I will do my best to do this. Okay, I won't say more about other things. You too, you must pay more attention to safety. Remember, no matter what you do, if you can't do anything, give up decisively. Ensure your own safety first, which is the most important thing. Qin Wen and Sanada Miayu felt a little warm in their hearts. Although Qin Feng's strength was amazing, he was never arrogant when facing other people, and he just asked others to do things beyond their ability. On the contrary, speaking when doing things, it makes people feel like a spring breeze. It's like crossing Huaxia and Japanese to come forward for Qin Wen, and it is also to ensure the safety of Sanada Miayu. In the end, he will take the initiative to remind the two of them that safety comes first. Brother Feng, don't worry, things are getting weirder and weirder now. When I do things, I won't be so impulsive anymore. It's good that you can understand this. Sect Master Qin, pay more attention to your safety. Don't worry, I'm definitely fine. Well, there's no need to say anything more. Eyelines go first. Since Qin Feng decided to do things, he never dragged his feet. After waving goodbye to the two of them, he walked out of Sanada Miayu's house. In the next moment, Qin Feng disappeared without a trace point at Qin Feng's speed. It didn't take long to arrive in Huaxia Point. Just as he was about to rush back to Dukao village, as soon as possible, the phone rang, and Qin Feng looked a little surprised. It's early in the morning, and the caller turned out to be Wu Hua, which means that it's either a very important thing, or something that happened, especially urgent. In any case, it's not a good sign. Chapter 299 Worries. Qin Feng picked up the phone, and obviously heard Wu Hua's relief. Sect Master Qin, I'm really sorry to bother you so late. It's okay. Didn't I tell you that you can call me anytime you have something to do? I don't rely on sleep very much now. Just tell me if you have something. After all, the contact time between the two is not short. Wu Hua knew that Qin Feng didn't like to be sloppy, and sighed directly. Sect Master Qin, I have been trying to do what you have told me, but unfortunately, the above does not listen to my opinion, and I'm open to the things that ordinary people can awaken and absorb spiritual energy. Qin Feng frowned slightly, and after a while, he said, I thought it would be like this, and you don't need to blame yourself. After the invasion of alien beasts, there are huge hidden dangers not only in China, but in the whole world. In this case, I definitely hope that more people can become immortal cultivators and deal with alien beasts. Of course, in Wu Hua's upper class, there may have been some people who have absorbed the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. At least in a short period of time, there are no disadvantages. On the contrary, the overall physical condition will become better, so more and more people, their views have changed. At this time, Wu Hua sighed again and opened his mouth. Sect Master Qin, I have basically nothing to say now, and I suggest you don't worry too much about this matter for the time being, or in other words, just don't care about this matter, otherwise, you might let your caught in a bigger whirlpool of public opinion. After thinking about it, Qin Feng smiled. No, it's probably impossible for me to turn a blind eye to this matter. You really don't need it. Wu Hua seemed a little anxious. I understand what you mean. Maybe, in your opinion, absorbing the spiritual energy between heaven and earth does not see any drawbacks for the time being, and there is absolutely no need to panic too much. But I just came back from the Japanese country and found a tricky problem. The problem is, those who absorb spiritual energy, or immortal cultivators, to a certain extent, will become the accomplices of alien beasts. This may be a huge conspiracy. Qin Feng didn't hide anything, and told Wu Hua about the Japanese country, together with the whole speculation. After listening, Wu Hua was silent for a while. Exhaled in shock, Wu Hua said, I really didn't expect such a thing to happen. According to your inference, not only China, but the whole world may be in danger. So, it's hard for me to stand by and watch this matter. Wu Hua sighed, looking increasingly helpless. Sect Master Qin, I understand your feelings very well, and, from the beginning to the end, I have incomparable trust in your words, but unfortunately, other people may not think so. Even if you say your own speculation, outsiders it also seems like an alarmist. Only, if they really suffer in this matter will they learn a profound lesson, and think about what you said at the beginning. Qin Feng had to admit that what Wu Hua said made sense. I'll consider this matter again. But, if possible, I still hope that you can react with the above. Try your best to make an appeal and temporarily give up the absorption of spiritual energy. Sect. Master Qin, I will try my best to do it, but don't have too much hope for whether it will work or not. I understand. Let's just do it first. If you have something to do, please call at any time. Qin Feng hung up the phone. At this time, he had already entered Dukao village. Just after taking a few steps forward, I heard movement in front of me. Looking up, through the moonlight, I can see Yan Xiao, who is alluring the country and the city, standing there quietly, looking at Qin Feng, her beautiful eyes, with a different kind of light, and a smile on the corner of her mouth, like a flower blooming in the night. It is very beautiful. Qin Feng smiled and said slowly, "It's so late, you haven't slept yet, Yan." Xiao's voice was still unique and sweet. "I was going to sleep, but when I heard a sound, it felt like you were back, so I couldn't help but come over to see. It turned out to be you." Before he could speak, Qin Feng had already approached, took Yan Xiao's hand, and walked forward. Yan Xiao continued softly, "Going to the Japanese country, is it going well? How is Qin Wen's injury?" Qin Wen's injury is not a big problem. As for other matters, it's almost the same. If it goes well or not, it's hard to say. By the way, if you can release some more news, or in my name, try to get other people to give up and absorb the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. The beautiful Yan Xiao has a slightly complicated look on her pretty face. "Didn't I say it at the beginning? This matter, persuading or not persuading, actually doesn't have much effect. Maybe it will put you on the cusp of the storm, or else, wait and see." "I want to wait, but I can't wait any longer. This time, after I go to Japan." Qin Feng soon talked about the affairs of the Japanese country, together with the overall speculation, to Yan Xiao. After listening, the expression on Yan Xiao's pretty face was unpredictable. This is really an expected point at the beginning. I was still worried that, after absorbing the spiritual energy, ordinary people will encounter the influence of hostility, and maybe they will cause some trouble in the future. I didn't expect that those people are the biggest possibly. It will become the target of a beast attack, or even fall into someone else's glove. The more you think about it, the more frightening it becomes. However, even if you appeal again, I'm afraid other people will find it hard to believe. After all, being able to feel the existence of spiritual energy and try to absorb the people after that will benefit them so much that they will be crazy enough to forget about any scruples. As Yan Xiao spoke, her expression became a little worried. "If you speak up again and again, it will make other people think that you have ulterior motives. You are obviously doing good things, but you will be ridiculed and scolded. Is this worth it?" Obviously, Yan Xiao has great concerns for Qin Feng. Qin Feng exhaled. His handsome face became very calm. His eyes became firmer. Qin Feng finally said slowly, "I understand what you just said, but this kind of thing has to be done by someone. Maybe, after doing it, it won't have much effect, and it will be misunderstood, but at least I can ask a peace of mind." Having said that, as long as there is one person who can believe it, I think what I do has meaning. Just do what I say first. No matter what happens, I'm ready, and I will not be affected by it. What effect? You just believe me. Chapter 300 The Best and Worst Times. Yan Xiao tilted her head slightly, and in her cuteness, she was a little playful and cute, and she was so beautiful that people couldn't open their eyes. With a faint sigh, Yan Xiao finally nodded. "I understand. As you said before, someone has to do it in the end. Don't worry, I will publish news on the internet as you want." Qin Feng nodded, thought about it, and said, "After you post the news, most of you may be puzzled, and you may also be subjected to cyber violence and attacks." Yan Xiao interrupted Qin Feng with a smile. "Have you forgotten what I do? In the past, I encountered many such things. No matter how perfect a person is, it is impossible for everyone to like it. Don't worry, no matter what, I know it in my heart. Won't care." Qin Feng nodded, and didn't go to talk to Yan Xiao about this somewhat annoying topic. The two simply held hands, like countless ordinary young people couples, walking in the dark fairy village, enjoying the rare peace. Early the next morning, Yan Xiao posted the news online. Aura absorption, still be cautious. Perhaps most people don't know, this may be a huge conspiracy. Those who absorb the aura will become the main target of the next beast attack. Yan Xiao still occupies an unusual popularity. After the news was released, it didn't take long for the number of comments below to exceed 100,000. However, looking around, almost no one believed Yan Xiao's words. You can pull it down. I can see it. You were brainwashed by Qin Feng, or the Qin family. I wish everyone was ordinary people. Only if you are immortal cultivators will you appear noble. Conspiracy? You are too embarrassed to talk about conspiracy. In my opinion, the biggest conspiracy is what you said to Qin Feng. Will alien beasts attack immortal cultivators? Haha, ordinary people and alien beasts won't attack? I'd rather have the ability to protect myself than to cry helplessly when alien beasts attack. Yan Xiao, I have liked you for so many years. I have watched every one of your movies. You have disappointed me so much. You are no longer the literary queen you used to be. Qin Feng didn't dare to speak out on his own, but pushed you, a woman, to the cusp of the storm point. The thing is to have a face. At the beginning, Yan Xiao also replied to refute a few people's words, but unfortunately, she soon found out that she couldn't reply completely. Few people would believe what Yan Xiao said. Qin Feng was also paying attention to this matter. When he read the comments, he looked very calm, but outsiders didn't know what was going on in his heart. While the discussion is continuing, because of Yan Xiao's news, many people have started to release new news. The United States was invaded by alien beasts again, and was repelled by the cultivators. Those alien beasts didn't take advantage of the immortal cultivators at all, and they were beaten down. It's not just the United States. I read the latest news. The Japanese side also encountered an invasion of alien beasts. However, they were also repelled by the immortal cultivators who appeared in the Japanese country. Look at this video. It's absolutely shocking. Someone posted the latest video. In the territory of China, there are two people flying in the wind, very fast, but these two people are not the immortal cultivators in the original Qin family. Wow, so powerful. After absorbing the spiritual energy between heaven and earth, we already have other immortal cultivators in China who can fly in the wind. The video news became very popular, and the two immortal cultivators who could fly in the wind directly became top-notch existences in the afternoon of the same day. The two started a live webcast. The whole popularity quickly soared, and the number of people watching the live broadcast quickly exceeded the 1 million mark. Hello, everyone. My name is Wuzijin. The video of you Fengfei you saw is indeed me and my brother, Liu Jitao. Yes, I'm Liu Jitao. Hello everyone. Today's live broadcast is just to exchange some questions with you. How do you become a cultivator? Wuzijin, who had a dark complexion, raised his eyebrows. Why do you need to ask? We two brothers must have absorbed the spiritual energy between heaven and earth to get to where we are today. In the comments below, there are more and more people asking questions. Two great gods. What do you think Qin Feng said not to blindly absorb spiritual energy? What do you think? Sit down and watch. Liu Jitao had a faint sneer on the corner of his mouth. If I have to say it more directly, wouldn't it be nonsense? I don't need to say more. There are already many smart people has long seen through Qin Feng's ultimate purpose. In the end, Qin Feng and the Qin family don't want other immortal cultivators to wake up. They want to be the saviors of China all the time. Haha, my words may be a little unpleasant, but after all, I'm telling the truth. The two of them basically sneered at the news released by Qin Feng. For a time, the popularity of the live broadcast room became even more popular. Nietzsche, you two dare to say anything? I'm just thinking, if you say this, aren't you afraid of Qin Feng, or the Qin family will take revenge on you? Wuzijin smiled, looking nonchalant. The two of us are just telling the truth. What are we afraid of revenge? After all, if the Qin family wants to take revenge on the two of us, we have to weigh them up. Do you have the strength? Although I also think Qin Feng has ulterior motives, it's just that what you said is a bit exaggerated. If Qin Feng or the Qin family's immortal cultivator were to target the two of you, it would be an accident. Liu Jitao waved his hand. Arrogant, don't be afraid of this little thing. I think if you have to worry, you should worry about the immortal cultivators of the Qin family. At the same time, some members of the Qin family in Dukar village have also paid attention to this live broadcast. Qin Ya's pretty face turned pale with anger. These two lunatics really don't know that the sky is high and the earth is thick, and they are like invincible in the world. Qin Yu nodded along. That's right, don't even look at what they are. While we were talking, Wu Zijian's voice came from the live broadcast room. I saw a lot of friends leave messages asking if they are afraid of the immortal cultivators of the Qin family. I will repeat it here. There is no fear between the two of us. Moreover, I was thinking just now that maybe we should challenge directly Qin Feng to prove the strength of the two of us, but also to prove that what Qin Feng said not to absorb the spiritual energy between heaven and earth is a big mistake. Hearing this, the comments in the live broadcast room were completely insane. I'm going. Niu chat is invincible. Great god, are you lying to me again? You two really dare to challenge Qin Feng? Wow, the more I think about this, the more interesting it becomes. I can't wait. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.